interception. Guido Rosso.
What a remarkable drive, man. That's an All-American drive right here.
It's not exactly unwarranted. Like, when you have a guy that's that electric.
The legend himself, the GOAT, Dre Crowell.
Where my warm bottle movement at?
That kills your argument right there. Anything can happen. This game is not over. What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty here with the weekly RFL podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We're about to really step up the game here in the RFLs. You guys already see a lot going down. We got ourselves a little podcast intro. That's what you guys just saw there. So, man, get ready for the RFL to move up to the next level. As always, I'm here with my man Bill and Rob, ready to talk about what went down this week. Unfortunately, didn't have a podcast last week. We won't recap those games. We'll just be talking about this week's games and everything else, and a lot going on from here forth. But you guys who saw the trailer, you guys already know who is a new part of the RFL series. I'm not going to say it yet again because what we're going to do right now, I'm going to replay the RFL trailer if you missed it. And then after that, we're going to come back and then get this whole thing rolling. So I'm going to go ahead and play that right now. So, of course, big shout out to C. Beazle, our guy, man. He's been doing a lot of big things for us, man, helping us out a lot. Really stepped up the RFL's graphical game since he came along board. So definitely got to give that man a shout out for that trailer. Did an excellent job. We're also working on seeing if we could get some more little hype trailers to go along the way closer towards the season. But, man, I mean, that's definitely going to be the trailer for the channel for right now. That's an excellent video. So, once again, shout out to C. Beazle. And if you still haven't figured out who the new team is yet, I don't know what you were looking at, but the new team to the RFL temporarily. We're saying temporarily now because we are planning on bringing the San Antonio Marshals back. The only reason why they aren't in the RFL still is because of them being taken off by Madden for whatever reason. But the Orlando Wizards will now be in replacement of the San Antonio Marshals. I guess, I haven't had you guys speak much on here. What's your guys' thoughts on the Orlando Wizards joining the RFL?
It's bittersweet because, like, the Wizards, the uniforms look nice. It's a fresh, look and everything. It's going to be weird not having the Marshals, man. But, hey, things happen, things change, and it's not like it's a bad-looking team, so not much to complain about.
Yeah, I don't really have too much comment on it, man. I just really like the Marshals and everything. Know the uniforms are all good and everything, man, but I'm still getting I'm still getting some kind of weird vibes, man, with all the magical stuff going on in the background of this, man. I don't know, Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse in the stands this year.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah. I don't know about all that, man.
Dark version of Disneyland out there.
Yeah, a little too playful for me, man, but it's all good. You know what I mean?
Hey, man, and one thing I do like about it is they technically have the exact same uniforms as the San Antonio Marshals had, except, just purple and black now. But so I guess that's a plus for it. Of course, they got different logo as well. But it's going to be weird, of course, seeing, the San Antonio Marshals playing in these uniforms. But, just I guess a new interesting little intricate part to the league that so I guess some people are going to be hyped looking at the Wizards a little bit, but like I said, once again, this is a temporary team to the RFL. They won't be an official team further down the line. They're just replacing them until, of course, we get that modding power to implement them back into the game. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into what we usually do in the podcast, and that's recap the week's game. We first started off with this last game that I called, well, first to last game that I called before I took my trip here. It was Washington taking on USC. A lot of hype coming into this game. A lot of guys was feeling like, hey, Washington was a hot team. USC people were questioning a little bit, and USC showed up in this one. We were able to get it done at home, 24-10.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a sort of a really tough game for both teams in the first half. It was a slow start, I thought, but USC turned it up in the second half, man. A few weeks ago, we probably are calling this a really easy win for USC, but Washington has been on fire lately for good reason. Romanelli's had them playing really well, so to me, this is a huge win for USC. So great job there.
I'm just gonna say, man, I gotta switch it up a little bit here, man. I know the chat people always say it all the time, fluke game, fraud game. And I'm going to go ahead and ride that train, man. I don't really think that this was really what Washington is. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know, what happened with the play call and what the AI decided to do this game here. But Washington, if you've been watching Washington, man, they didn't look anything like the team that I'm used to seeing in the last few weeks since we adjusted the playbooks and stuff, man. That's no shade to USC. They get it done. We got to give it to them. It was just I wasn't expecting that to be the way that was, man. I mean, yeah, man. I mean, they look terrible on third down, man. 3 of 12 on third down. They only showed up in the second quarter, really, with the 10 points they had. They led actually 10-6 at the half. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They just looked really, really off balance. Romanelli wasn't necessarily bad. Gonzalez wasn't great, but he had an above average day with the 107 QBR, 25 of 34, 301, 73%. That's a great day. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jakari Torres, man. Jakari Torres, man. 26 of 107 yards out here, man. We're having a lot of fun in the disco with that guy. I'm not going to do him on the podcast like that, man. But oh boy, they already said it. Boy, you are here like a Corolla, boy. We gotta change that name for Ferrari to something else, man. I told him, since we left off Arcade, man, he ain't been as elusive. Anyway, man. Rest in peace to Kareem Belridge. Had to give it to him, man. 11 rushes, 26 yards. That was all the way shut down. Honorable mention though does go to Zach Jeremy. 10 receptions, 157, 1 touchdown. Hunter Bryant was doing his thing, 8 receptions, 75 yards. Dorian Cope on USC side of things, 7 receptions, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. And the Big Cheese, man, the Big Cheese came in here, 7 receptions, 104 yards, man. LeCavalier totally phased out in this ball game. Like, he only had like 3 catches, man. I was really, really shocked with what USC was able to do in this ball game. But hats off to USC, man. But I don't know. I don't really know about this one right here, man. I just didn't really believe that USC just dominate these guys like that, man. But that's just my opinion, so it is what it is.
That was a huge win by USC, and I think for a big reason on why, a little bit of the lackluster performance by Washington. People tend to underestimate USC and their defense a little bit. I mean, this defense has actually been pretty solid this year, and I think they showed up big in this game. The fact that even going into half holding that hot Washington team to just 10 points, and the fact that they phased out Ryan LeCavalier, they did an excellent job in coverage in that game. And I think that they really showed out in a big moment to say, like, hey, we are still a team that we feel should be a playoff caliber team. And right now, they're, of course, holding on to that number 2 spot after this win. So a great win right there by the Trojans. Moving on to the next game, we had Clemson in a nail-biter against Notre Dame. Now, this had to be probably one of the most exciting games of the week, as it was a lot of scoring, of course, as you can see here. Clemson was able to get it done over Notre Dame 39-32.
Yeah, like you said, man, this was a way more exciting game than I thought it was going to be. I think this is probably the best I've seen Notre Dame's offense look almost all season. They couldn't get Clemson couldn't stop them. They had both offenses had amazing days. But at the end of the day, man, Clemson came back. Brandon Fecke came in clutch in the end there for the go-ahead touchdown, and Clemson pulls it off. But I mean, to me, this game is a little bittersweet for Clemson because I feel like Clemson sort of underperformed on defense in this game. I expected them to have a little bit more of a control over Notre Dame. Not saying Notre Dame is a horrible team, but we all know that this is sort of a lost season for Notre Dame. And for them to be able to come in here and put 32 up like that, when Clemson's jockeying for a playoff contention and seeding, for the postseason, I mean, you got to tighten that up a little bit for Clemson because you try to do this kind of, playing around when it comes to, USC, Baylor, LSU, all these bigger teams, you're going to find yourself sitting at home, man. So good win for Clemson, but I just think that heading into the playoffs, man, they gotta tighten that up a little bit.
Yeah, how they say, man, any given Sunday, man, any team can lose or win. We definitely say that in the RFL, and obviously that's starting to become kind of a part of the culture here in the college series. I was definitely shocked at the 32 put up by Notre Dame, despite Ajax being terrible, man. 67.5 or whatever it was for QBR, 55% completion rating, 2 interceptions. He almost gets it done against Clemson, man. That was kind of a big deal right there. But we've seen that out of Ajax, man. He has these days where he's just kind of like on the brink of just getting a bell, you know what I mean? And then, somehow he's able to, pull his team up and stay in the game and everything. But Clemson pretty much just unloaded in the fourth quarter. It was over. Obviously Notre Dame just got pretty tired out there, give up 20 points in the fourth. Other than that, man, I just thought that the receivers for Clemson did a great job as well. We just highlighted real quick, Ann Leitner, Rochester, and Chalk. Man, 24 catches, 300 yards between just the three of those guys. And then the guy for Notre Dame, Levy, 5 receptions, 104 yards, man. So those are my honorable mentions I had there. And I think there was a big interception, man, up the Hail Mary, man. Dude named Sheridan Jones. Had a pretty big Hail Mary interception. I thought it was kind of cool. But other than that, man, I was entertained by the game, man. So I really didn't have any bells there for them.
Yeah, well, I'll give a bell. I'll give 2 bells here. One for Notre Dame on how their season's been going. So there goes bell number 1. And for bell number 2 for Clemson for even allowing Notre Dame to even be this close in
Man, that's like
competition.
a double bell for Notre Dame.
Yeah, it is. But also for Clemson, I mean that hopefully that's not a sign of their defense having a little bit of problems coming into this later part of the season, because looks like a team that could very well end up being in the Final Four. If you're getting this close with Notre Dame, like you said, Bill, and you go up against teams like Georgia, and LSU and guys like that you guys are talking about, USC even, this you can't afford to have a defense playing like this. I mean, it's good that the offense at least put up the points, but then again, Notre Dame has been a bad team, so you might not be able to put up these 39 plus points or whatever come a matchup like that. So I mean, that's a great win for Clemson to pull back. But also it was great fight back from Notre Dame. We already know their season's going to end in just 2 weeks. So, I mean, a tough one for them. Like to see that fight. But Clemson, great job of finishing it out and getting the job done to improve their record. Okay, so next we had Mississippi State taking on Minnesota. Minnesota's really been on a downward hill so far. A lot of straight losses they've had. And they take a loss here to Mississippi State. Mississippi State has been, look great at times and sometimes not look good, and so inconsistent team, but they do get it done on the road at that in Minnesota as they beat them 20-17.
Yeah, that's exactly my first note here. Is not only has Minnesota sort of been falling backwards, I think like their fall from grace is just finished right here, man. Like a couple weeks ago, they were right up there in top 4 talks. They were right there with Georgia, with USC, with Baylor, and all these other teams, and now they just can't even. It looks like they're just trying to survive the season at this point. I don't know what happened, but this one, I got to put this one on somewhat on the offense. I mean, the offense just couldn't get things going, I don't think, and especially the defense. We saw Minnesota's defense early on in the season. They were a lot more stout than this to give up 20 points to Mississippi State. And again, I'm not trying to bash Mississippi State, saying that this is a game that Minnesota should have had in the bag, but like I said, if we think about this Minnesota team a couple weeks ago, we were talking about them being a possible 1 of 4 for the playoffs. Yeah. And, now we're looking where we're at, so it's big win for Mississippi State and a definite fall from grace for the Gophers. Just hate to see it, man, but that's why we love this league, man. Anything can happen.
Well, I'm gonna say that we do have to be hard on Minnesota because, I mean, I'm just looking at now the top 20. I have to look at the top 25 from last week, Smitty, because where is Minnesota ranked on that?
On the top 25 from last week.
Yeah, are they above? Are they still above? Are they above Miami and
Yeah.
So
they're above
Minnesota,
Miami,
so
Oregon? They're above a lot of teams, man. That would have beat the brakes off of
They were
Mississippi.
12. They were
Yeah, they were
12 this
12.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they're not supposed to be this close. Being at 12.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know about all that, man. I think that this was definitely an upset, man.
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like this is definitely a huge upset.
Mississippi State
Man,
wasn't even ranked.
Yeah. And I was just like kind of like taken away, man. Like I'm watching. I'm like, man, there's only 3 field goals in this game through 3 quarters, and finally a touchdown. You know what I mean? And then Kershaw, he's out here. I mean, he's having an efficient day, but Trip Baker, is just a little bit more accurate. So Trip Baker is just like staying in the game. Because Kershaw is not, and that's the words. Those are some words I want to use, man, when I start talking about quarterbacks and stuff. Like there's efficiency and there's production, right?
Yeah.
Like you need production, man. You know what I mean? Like efficiency is one thing. You can be killing it and your stats will be high, but you're not getting no production. Like y'all not getting wins, y'all not getting touchdowns. Guys out here with no TDs, shout out to Hodge. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy, man. You know what I mean? So
You just sneak that in.
yeah, right there. Put a bell on that,
I
man.
already had it, man. I was ahead of you. Oh man, and shout out to Darius Dollars though, man.
Yeah, man, it's just nuts, man. Just looking at this, but I just looked at this game. It was just I put it right here in my notes, man. It was a boring game, man. Average rushing days here. I mean, 65 yards, you know what I mean, by Rodney Smith to 30 yards by Louisville's. Rest in peace to that. And then I did give an honorable mention to Stephen Guidry. Is it Guidry, Smitty, or Guidry? Guidry, yeah. So 7 receptions there, 127 yards. And then this Logan Russell character, is this the Russell with 2 L's, Smitty?
Yeah, that's him. Minnesota.
Okay, yeah. So 16. I'm sorry, Russell. I think did I stream this game? Because I think I used my file that didn't have the 2 L's updated.
You streamed all the games.
Yeah, so I did my best. Rest in peace to Mix on that, man. He had 1 L today. But anyway, Logan Russell, man, 16 tackles, 3 TFLs, 1 sack, and 1 deflection. So, I gave him an honorable mention there. But, yeah, man, I really was just disappointed in Minnesota's play here. To be the number 12, quite frankly, to be the number 12 team in the country, man, and you lose to these dudes, man, like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
And I just thought of something here, too, man. Smitty, let me get one of them bells here.
All right, say it and I'll add it to it for epicness.
Kershaw, what are you doing on the last play there, man? What I don't understand is okay, you need a field goal. I get it. Why are you running up the middle of the field with no time on the clock? What are you going to accomplish there? What are you going to accomplish? At least try to give somebody a shot to maybe get into field goal range, maybe score a touchdown. No, you're just going to run it right up the middle. Like, to me, it just didn't make any sense. Like, I get it. Maybe you didn't have a lot of options there, but to just take off up the middle like that, you're not going to get out of bounds. And it's not like you're a elusive back where you're going to break somebody's ankles and then get out of bounds. So, you just pretty much gave up on the play, man. I just didn't think that was smart at all.
Yeah.
So that's where the bell goes.
To add another one. Minnesota, man. I mean, like you were saying, Bill, this was a team that got as far as up in rankings as number 3. And they fell from grace so hard. I believe by the time they were ranked number 3, they had 5 wins. And currently they are 5-5 on a season. And not even bowl eligible still yet. So with that being said, I mean, there's a possibility that they don't even make a bowl game. If they fall from grace that hard, I mean, it's probably got to be the most upsetting team of the series, to up and down, because that's just I have no words for it. I mean, how do you start off that hot? Now, I guess we all probably know what it was. Arcade. I mean, early in the seasons, guys was hot. Arcade. Yeah. That might be the explanation right there. I mean, they were hot early in the season, and then as soon as we got back to realism, they might have been. Yeah, I've seen somebody in the chat. I seen somebody in the chat saying they were all smoke and mirrors, and I believe it, man. That once we got back to reality, Minnesota, really showed their true colors right now, and I mean, they just need 1 win to be bowl eligible, and they've needed that for weeks now. If they don't end up going to a bowl game, that's just going to be very disappointing for anyone who's a Minnesota fan. Man, you know who's disappointing for? Mitch. That
Oh,
guy.
I see him already in this chat, man. He is.
He's salty. So, man, RIP to Mix. I said Mix Mitch, man. RIP to him, man.
Yeah, definitely, because he's got between the Gophers and Jacoby Hartfield, man. He's just picking them.
Everything's just going down here for
He's-
Mitch.
Whoever Mitch is backing, do not get on that wagon, guys.
2020 has been a rough year, especially for Mitch this year, man. That's crazy. Well, moving on to the next game, we had Michigan getting a dub over Florida State as they were able to get it done on the road, 23-16.
Yeah, I thought this was a big game for Michigan to win. I didn't. This is another one. Like, there's a few of them where it's like I expected a certain team to win, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, this is in the bag, winning it. But I thought Florida State had this one. I thought this would be like, they're at home, they're the better team, and Michigan just came ready to play, and Florida State just did not, man. And I think this is a big deal for Florida State, seeing as that, you know, they're not like in maybe playoff contention, but we're talking about the bowl games. Like, this is really going to hurt them because Michigan was definitely not anywhere near up towards that top 10, but Florida State was. They're going to be falling a little bit now after this week, you have to assume. So it's a big win for Michigan. I didn't see it coming, but hey, they found a way to do it, and they upset Florida State at home.
Yeah, man. A great win for Michigan, man. But I gotta rest in peace, my man Polly, man. You know, because you know I was really excited about this, man. I just knew we gonna put Hodge in number 2 slot, and all of a sudden, you know, Hodge is gonna have his first touchdown, and man, he turned in 6 targets to my man, bro. Like, I don't know what's going on, man. But this is just this is just terrible. You know, 27% on third down. Like, how? You got all these wide receivers. How are you 27% on third down? You know, Tucker, he was looking okay. You know, he wasn't, that much greater and everything, or that much worse, you know, but just, you know, pretty much no production out of the running game as well with Cam Akers. You know, he had only 39 yards. Tucker, you know, he's running, he had like 99 yards and everything. And anytime your quarterback, man, has way more yards than your halfback, you know, usually, unless, you know, it's a really good player, really good dual threat quarterback, man, that equals L's. And so obviously just the lackluster day out of Tucker, and, you know, he had a decent running game, but just obviously wasn't enough. And, you know, Michigan just, you know, pulling it through. I thought that, you know, it was a good game, you know, because it kind of started off really good. He was throwing to Hodge for a moment, and then he just out of nowhere, he just like started channeling his energy elsewhere, man. And it's just really, like, I'm happy that Michigan got the win, but I still feel like we haven't seen the full force of what this team could be. And so now I'm just kind of like thinking like, well, man, maybe it's just the quarterback, man. You know, I didn't write down Sandstrom's numbers, but I know Sandstrom had a big day, guys. Smitty, do you have I think he had over 130 yards rushing.
He had over that. He had
a big day. I didn't even have to write that down. I just knew he had a big day. But, you know, I still feel like there's just something more to Michigan, man. It's just looming over the league right now. You know, what could be, you know, and I don't want to feel like, I really don't want to just feel like, you know, this is a wide receiver issue, man. I really just think it's the quarterback play of Poley, man. I just don't think he's, you know, good enough in the past, man. I hate to say it, but I got to keep it all the way real, man. That's just my opinion there, you know. So,
hey, well, that's
what
all
the
podcast is all about, man. Being real, speaking true opinions, and not holding back. I mean, we're not here to, you know, of course, upset anybody, but we're here to keep it real. You know, let people. Yeah. This is what, if you were a real prospect, a real player in real life, this, you know, you're gonna have to go through criticism. And
I think I know what the problem is too.
What's that?
I think Polly found out that Hodge is a peanut butter and banana hater, man. I think that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Like, look, you can't live on this earth and hate on the peanut butter and banana and expect dudes to respect you like that.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I didn't indulge in that conversation in the debate room, but
you know I'm right.
That sounds nasty to me.
Dude, get out of here right now.
Well, hang up.
R.I.P. to peanut butter and banana.
Get the mic off me here.
You're
Give me a bell. Give me a bell.
R.I.P. to putting toast in a microwave.
No,
in the microwave?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Who does that?
I need a bell.
Hodge.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, bell for that. But yeah, what you gonna say something, Bill, before I move on?
I need a bell.
For me?
Don't worry about what it's for. Just give me the bell.
It's not gonna be effective if you don't say it and then you play it afterwards.
Whatever, man.
I'll play it right now, but it's going to be.
It's for you. How are you gonna hate on the peanut butter and banana? You say it's nasty.
First of all, look, I can say it. You want to know why? Because I don't like bananas, so that's a different thing, I guess. That's nasty to me just because of the bananas involved. But anyway, let's get back on the podcast topic. The next game we have here, this was a really good and close game here. Big Ten conference matchup between Penn State and Michigan State. And just like a team falling from grace, Michigan State's kind of been the same team as Minnesota has been so far this year. As they take a loss here to Penn State. Final score was 27-24.
Yeah, I thought this one was Penn State's to easily win. For a while, it looked like they were sort of building themselves a lead, and then they sort of seemed to have a little bit of a meltdown. Michigan State started climbing back into it, and next thing you know, it's tied up at 24. But Penn State pulls it off, gets the field goal to finish it off, and come away with the victory. But yeah, I thought it was a weird game, a game to watch, just because it looked like Penn State had it in the bag, and then Michigan State sort of forgot that, hey, we're pretty good too. They try to come back, and yeah, but good job for Penn State to hold on and get the win.
Yeah, Penn State, man, like you said, man, had that thing 17-3 at the half. And MSU really battled back. They actually outscored PSU in the second half, 21-10. But they just fall short here, and the reason why is because they were just ineffective in the red zone. 60% in the red zone. PSU, perfect. They were 5 for 5 in the red zone, and so that really just was kind of like the separator right there. Ricky Vaughn, had a good day. Three touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions. Had to rest in peace that real quick. But other than that, they just kind of ran up against a PSU team that was just ready, and they started off too late to get into this ball game. Ramos, man, 49 passes, and he was 79% completion. Awesome. 49 passes, 79% completion, 2 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception, but I can't bail him for that, man, with that kind of accuracy, completion accuracy. 49 passes, that's crazy. I did have to rest in peace Vivi though, man. 37 yards. Come on, man. 37 yards. I was shut down. He did have 9 catches for 70 yards though.
Okay.
So he got his production. He got his production elsewhere. So I gave him that. Mason Kahn had a solid day. 9 receptions, 78 yards. Zoe, the chef, you knew it was coming, Zoe. You knew it was coming, man. 5 receptions, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown for him. Honestly, man, nothing defensively really stood out for me. I didn't even go there. There was, obviously this is just one of those games where, it's just all about the offense and who's gonna, make more mistakes than the other. And today, that day, Michigan State just didn't get it done in the red zone, and that's why they barely lost.
Yeah, big win for Penn State there, man. I believe they are bowl eligible after this one. Yep, they became bowl eligible after that win, moving on to 6-4. So a big win right there for Ramos and Nittany Lions. The next game we had Miami versus West Virginia. We already know for the most part, how productive, how not productive I would have to say Miami's offense has been. So they're winning games. It's usually a low scoring game, but they get it done. They beat West Virginia. They were able to shut down Moon and defeat the Mountaineers 18-13.
Yeah, I got not the cleanest or most exciting game for either team here, man. But Miami's had a rough go of it this season, and they really needed this win, and they find a way to get it done, man. I think the defense played exceptional, like you said. They shut down Leo Moon in the offense. They held him to 13 points. That's huge. You always wish the offense can get more points up, but hey, a win's a win at this point for Miami. They get it done. So congrats to them, because like I said, man, I know they've had it rough. We give them a lot of crap here on the podcast and in the Discord, but you guys can go ahead and put your palm trees up tonight, because you guys can.
Yeah. First of all, I got to go ahead and get bottles in the chat for Corey Poley. You think I ain't see it? He says bottles for Corey Poley in the chat, man. He says, why y'all keep acting like there's something I can do about getting Hodge the ball? Like, of course I want to get the man the ball. You the quarterback, man. What do you mean? You the quarterback. Like, you're supposed to be. Look, look, we this is immersion.
Well, the
man.
way he said, yeah. Oh, okay. You're about to get to it. Yeah.
This is immersion, man. We're not like acting as if you're a real person, like you're in real life.
We are.
You know what I mean?
It's simulation. You
Right.
know?
It's simulation, man. It's immersion, and so we have to talk about it. You know, we can't just say, "Oh, the game is crappy and it's not allowing Corey Poley to pass." You know what I mean? Then
Yeah.
why would we be doing this? You dig what I'm saying? So so you don't have to take it any kind of way, my guy. We're not coming at you personally. We're just talking about the player in the game. We know it has issues.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, man. To Miami and West Virginia. Both teams terrible on third down. Both QBs underperforming here. 4 picks total between the two. 68.4 for Moon, 71.7 for DJ. Amir and White both had 160 yards plus on the ground. That was a bright spot for Miami. But rest in peace, man. The West Virginia man. 15 rushing yards from McCoy. It's 15 rushing yards, man. Dunn, McCoy, Nick Webster, that's Lil Webby, right? Yeah, Lil Webby.
Yep.
Olsen, Aiden Davis. Let's see, what did I have here? Big wide receiver days for those guys, for most of those guys there. Olsen and Davis actually had 5 catches for Olsen and 3 for Davis, but those other guys I mentioned for West Virginia, man, they had huge wide receiver days there. And also I gave honorable mentions to CP, Tonkery, Woolix, and Thompson. All of them had interceptions in this game. And this is just, if you watch the game, it was a good game. And it wasn't a whole lot of points, obviously, but it was a good kind of defensive game, and it was exciting. It was exciting at points, and I really enjoyed it. But that's all I had there.
Yeah, nothing really too much to say here. Good win there for Miami. And just to speak, I guess I can say a little bit more about Miami here. The fact they got this one, I mean, a lot of guys ruled them out, period, from even being in a bowl game. But because of this win, they just have they have to win one more game. So if they can win one more game before this is over, then they can be at least bowl eligible. So that, I mean, it wouldn't be a complete failed season if they can at least accomplish that. But let me see what we got here. First of all, well, we'll get to the schedule when we talk about it, so I'll talk more about that when that comes up. But Miami not out of bowl conversations yet. Moving on to the next game, a very low scoring game again. SEC matchup. Auburn. I think this was a big upset. It was a huge win for Auburn. I think a lot of people started sleeping on Auburn after they took a couple series of losses. But this is a team really good defense who's actually haven't lost a lot of games this year. They're 7-3, and they were able to completely shut down the LSU offense, winning it 17-9.
Yeah, this was I have it down as somewhat of an upset, but it's not like a real shocker to me because I think Auburn, of course, is a very talented team and they're number 6 for a reason. But I mean, LSU, they were number 4. I don't know if they're going to be after this, but I mean, this is a must-win game at this point when some of these higher-end teams meet up because we know how close all of these guys are between basically, well, really, I mean, between the 2nd seed and all the way back to 10, just because there's only like a game or 2 difference between most of them. So This was a big win for Auburn. Obviously, I feel that they should move up the ranks. We don't know for sure if they're going to or not, but a win like this is exactly what you need heading into the offseason.
Yeah, man. Smitty, like I said, man, I was telling you, man, the words of the day are going to be efficiency and production, man. We love John Bells. We love you, man. You're killing it on the stats and everything, but come on, man. 4 red zone trips and no touchdowns. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. So I think that we have to start having that discussion too about that team was 7-3 or 7-4. These teams are up here in the top 5, the top 6, but who is really about it, man? Who is really about this playoff that's coming up? Who? Because you got to look at this, man. Like Georgia, you can't go into Georgia. Going to the end zone 5-6 times a game, going to the red zone and not putting up touchdowns. You can't beat Georgia with field goals. Yeah. So I gotta say hats off to the wins that guys are getting and everything. This is a great win for Auburn. A great win for them. LSU really needed this game, man. They really needed to beat Auburn. For a number of reasons. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. another four pick game. There were like 4 picks in this total between the two quarterbacks here. I believe Warren had a couple of touchdowns himself. Poor, pretty much rushing. He's doing good on the ground there, but at the end of the day, man, it's just one of those things, one of those games where it just kind of just came down to quarterback play, and Warren just really got it done. The 9 rushes on the ground, 108 yards. Also, man, this is what I'm talking about, efficiency, right? So like, and I'm gonna keep saying this over and over again, like, rest in peace to the wide receiver core for LSU, because they had 34 catches between Sullivan, Xander, he's not a wide receiver, but he was in there, Braun, Batiste, and Tasker, and they had 327 yards, and there was no touchdowns.
Yeah.
No touchdowns. So yeah, the stats look crazy, man. I had 10 receptions, but you had no touchdowns, right? So it's like, you had no touchdowns, your team only got 9 points, and y'all lost a game that you really needed to win, you see? And so when you look at it like that, man, the domination was good, but the receivers held the L there because of whatever else is going on, with LSU that game. And then at the same time, then I got to look on the other side, like, that guy I gave Britt an honorable mention because Britt was all over the place. If you watch that game, KJ Britt, man, was killing it. 16 tackles, 1 TFL, 1 interception. He was all over the place, man. Getting it done, shutting down, stopping first downs, stopping deflecting passes. I mean, I think there were like 5 or 6 drops by LSU in that game that he was a part of those. So all right, I'm gonna stop talking, man.
Yeah, this is what we talked about pretty much throughout this season about LSU being an inconsistent team, up and down. There's a lot, like you said, all those passing yards and big days from the receivers, and you only get 9 points. That's just not going to get it done if you make it to the playoffs. There's a lot of teams competing for this. I think it's like 8 teams right now, based off where they're ranked record-wise, that are really just a game or a loss or a win away from being in or out of the playoffs. So, I mean, this is definitely not the point of the season that you want to lose a game. And, it wasn't like it was all the way guaranteed LSU should have won this game, because Auburn is not an easy team to beat. But, the way they lost the game, very, very telling on if, these guys are really built, like you said, for being able to even compete come playoff time. So, unfortunate loss here, and hopefully they turn things around. They have a bye week. They only have 1 more game left on the season, so it's pretty tough right there for LSU. Moving on to the next game, we had Iowa, who was able to get a win on the road here over Ole Miss, 31-15.
Hey man, it's official, guys. Okay, I just bought my ticket, and I'm boarding the hype train with Rob for Kurt Peterson.
Amen.
Right.
Amen, brother.
Hey.
Amen. Tabernacle.
I'm just saying, like, I know Rob has been pounding the table for this guy, and I get it, man. He does everything. He can do it all. Run, got it. Throw the ball, he dots people up. And I just think that he gets overshadowed a little bit because he goes to Iowa, which, hey, you're not a USC or an Alabama or, these big schools like Georgia. So you're not going to get as much exposure. But, man, I feel like every time we see this guy play, for the most part, he's impressive. And even though the Iowa Hawkeyes themselves haven't been overly impressive all season, I just feel like, man, if this was a team that was in the more of the national spotlight, that we might be talking about Peterson as one of the top guys in the series this year at quarterback. And I'm impressed with Iowa. I'm impressed with Peterson. Big win for them. And I'm loving me some Peterson at this point, man.
The unofficial, I got to see briefly this, but Forbes actually did a strength of schedule, and when I saw the strength of schedule, Iowa was in the top 5. I think they had almost a worse schedule than Miami had this season. And he did that a couple of weeks ago, and we just kind of like never really went with it because we have obviously the new system here to go on. But like I said, I get it though. I get why Peterson, because when I'm talking about that efficiency and production, right? You got guys with 25 touchdowns, out here. I get it. He only has 18 touchdowns. He has 6 picks. But there's one thing to look. It's also one thing to look at the stats, and it's another thing to look at the games. Like the games in which Kirk Peterson is losing, he's in the game and he's killing it. Like he's not like just out here with 35% ratings, and 21 to 37 passing and 180 yards, and he's not doing that. Like he's out here like really, really keeping his team in the games, and they're just barely losing. And on top of that, obviously his running game with his back, even when his back is not running, he's still killing it, man. So, I like the guy. I like the guy, and I know that he probably won't be anywhere near the better quarterbacks in the league based off the production that we're getting out of the other guys. But he's a great watch, man. I did have to rest in peace Ole Miss on this though, because they got out, and had it early. They got out, it got really bad early. Basically, it was 24-7, and they were just out of it. They just never even really had a chance in this game. KP with the 122 QBR, 19-25, 76%, 2 touchdowns. Quijada, you didn't have a bad day, but just wasn't efficient, and so it's just kind of bad there, and that's the reason why we didn't really see Ole Miss really bubble, and I think we've seen that out of Quijada, a lot, just they're not really getting the production that they need to get the bigger wins that they need there. But not to rant, on the whole thing, the whole situation there. But I had to definitely give the honorable mention here to Cleon Markman as well, because on top of the 85 yards that Kirk Peterson had, which just pretty much isolated all the third downs, the big longs for Ole Miss, Markman hands in 124 yards on the ground, so that's just kind of nuts, and then on top of that, KP he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. So it's just it was this team, man. If you don't watch Iowa games, I get it. You should really go back and watch Iowa highlights, though, man. And I don't even think. Matter of fact, I don't even think the highlights. No shade to Marshall, but the highlights of Iowa don't do the Iowa justice. You have to go back and watch what Peterson was doing in a lot of games, man. And that's my piece on it. I'm done.
Yeah, that's a big win right there for Iowa. Definitely a dark horse team. And they have a bye week this week, so they only have one more game left on the schedule. But guess what? If they win that, they, for the second time in the RFL College Series, become bowl eligible. This is a team early on we kind of thought was heading on the way out early, as they started out 0-4. Now here they are 5-6. So one more game left to play in week 13, and they win it, they're in. So I mean, definitely has been a solid team, and those 2 players have definitely been the heart and soul of their success. Okay, so this was where I say a lot of guys lost reload bucks, because Tennessee, they've only won 1 game this year, and they barely won that after a safety against Michigan on Poly in the end zone. So they were even lucky to get that win, but they kind of shocked guys. Georgia was blowing guys out. It's the #1 team, and they had to go at Georgia to play them. Everyone was expecting Georgia to hang at least 40 points on these guys, but that didn't happen, as Tennessee was able to make it a close game. In the end here, final score was 23-15.
I'm gonna have to start this out with a rest in peace for Georgia on this one, actually, man. I don't know why you guys letting Tennessee play with you like this. I'm sorry. All right, hey, you guys are #1. You come out here in your fancy blacked out jerseys, and you 23-15. What? Come on, man. Come on. Like,
Hey,
Georgia,
Bill.
I expect more out of you. I do, and then for good reason. So I hope you take this with a grain of salt that I'm dogging on you a little bit right now. No pun intended. But hey,
Yeah,
I just thought Georgia was gonna just destroy Tennessee, man. Maybe they're just sort of coasting to the playoffs. They're like, hey, we got this in the bag, but I just expected more out of Georgia in this one. But at the end of the day, it's a win. They get the win. Good job for Georgia. I expected more, man.
Yeah, I expected more out of Georgia too, man. Especially since y'all took 4 interceptions away from Luke Port. Rest in peace to him.
3 of those coming from Michael King.
Yeah, Michael King, right, yeah. He's in the honorable mentions, man. Cam Perkins, 129 on the ground, he gets it done. I did give Tennessee Tennessee Brian, I think it's Brian Davis, honorable mention too. He had 21 carries for 113 yards. I gave Boogie Lefford some love too, Boogie. I know you out there listening, man. He had 5 receptions out here. Led the team that week. Tyler Simpson did his thing as well, 5 receptions. But the biggest honorable mention of them all, that goes to the man that Smitty just named just now, Michael King, with 3 INTs on the Volunteers. You were volunteering the ball all day long, Luke Poor, man, and you gave Michael King a trifecta. So go ahead and get another rest in peace on that one right there. And also, Tennessee's Duncan and Schamberger, they also had some interceptions themselves, man. So this is just like pick fest out here in Georgia, man. But next,
Yeah. Well, last thing I can say, I guess to throw out about this game is, even though this game we felt Georgia should have blew them out, this kind of does talk about, I kind of feel like this Tennessee team, they just had it tough, man. Because if you look back at the games that they've played this season, they've actually competed with every single person, just about every single team that they've played this year. Like,
Yes.
and that is a fact. And I mean, it's sad to see them lose as many games as this. That this was a bowl eligible team last year. They went 6-6, and they won that bowl game, I believe. And now, only one win on the season, and they're hanging with Georgia. And it's just upsetting season for those guys. Compete every week, but just can't get it done. Big win though for Georgia as they keep the streak going. One more game left in the book for them, and they will break the RFL record for the
That's beautiful,
first
man.
team ever to go undefeated in a season. So I mean,
So-
that's saying a lot.
But they also have the longest winning streak too.
Yeah, they also have the longest winning streak in RFL College
Wow.
Series history. Um,
Boy,
yeah,
oh
these
boy.
guys are legit, and of course they've ran up the longest hold of the number one seed since week 2. So yeah, these
Man, oh,
guys are definitely breaking records. Close game, it shouldn't have
Gotta
been,
write
but
this stuff down, man.
Yeah.
So we don't, so we can compile upon it, not
Yeah.
forget it.
yeah. But
Hey,
Georgia,
let
man,
that be a
good win.
lesson to these guys, man. You can break all the records you want, be undefeated. You can win. You can have the longest winning streak. Does not save you from the bells all the time, my guy. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
It don't. And then we move on to the next game. This big Texas rivalry game as we had Texas hosting Texas A&M, and this was a really good game. As Texas, though, the Longhorns got it done, 27-21.
I thought this was another exciting game too, man. Both of these guys, it seemed that they had a hot and cold day, which usually leads to exciting games, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And it was just, I just didn't know if it would be this exciting, man. And I thought that both the quarterbacks went back and forth. And at the end of the day, man, Texas got the win. Congrats to those guys. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say about this one except that it was pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, man, my boy JTA, man, back in the doghouse with Old Mix, man. Come on, man. 25.3 QBR rating. Go ahead, drop the bell on my guy right there, man. 12 or 33, JTA, man. You ain't hit me up. You ain't been in the chat, man. You ain't asked me about the pictures and everything, man. So I figured, okay, he must have got the L. As soon as I look at the stats, oh my God. Oh my God, man. 36%. I could do that in my sleep, man. I could do that shooting paper balls in a basket in my room. 36%, man. Come on, man. What in the world's going on, man? JTA, you got to get it together, my guy. I love it when you are not making mistakes. When JTA is not making mistakes, that kid is raw. When he's making mistakes, man, he's a raw egg. Terrible, man. Um, let's see. Meadows, they both handed in over 200 rushing yards on the ground, though. 3 touchdowns between the two. I gave them that. Casares looked pretty good. 107.1, 24, 37, 293 yards, 3 touchdowns. Honorable mentions do go to those Texas boys, man. Brendan Baker, man, finally returning. Finally, Brendan Baker has come back to the RFL, man. 11 receptions, 110, 2 touchdowns. And also, is it Damian Fox, Smitty? Okay, Damian Fox had 1 interception. He got an honorable mention from me. Texas gets it done. And man, I'm telling you, man, Texas, I love you, but these guys struggled. These guys put up 21 points of y'all with a 25.3 QBR rating out of JTA, and he still had a whole bunch of yards on the ground. If he could just get the mistakes, get himself from making these mistakes, man, these guys could be winning a lot more games. So yeah, that's all I got for that one.
Yep. Yeah. I'm actually checking on that. Yes, Wisconsin was 18 and Ohio State was 19 before this game kicked off. And yeah, it was exciting, man. It was a crazy way to finish the game too, man.
Forgot to turn on my
Video.
voice. Yeah, I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
have my voice on. But pretty much I said it was an exciting game, and dang, I pressed the button on accident. My bad, guys.
What the heck you doing over there, man?
But yeah, Wisconsin, man. Once again, just to reiterate my sentiments, 29-26 over Ohio State. And what I was saying, what Bill was talking about, was that Wisconsin was ranked higher than Ohio State coming into this game. So I mean, they got the job done. Good win.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get back on track here now that Smitty's done.
Nah, hold
muting
on.
people.
Now, go ahead and press that bell, Smitty. Come on.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I pressed it, man.
Yeah, you get the
I
bell.
deserve that
You
one.
get the bell.
All
All
right.
right.
That
So,
was-
but anyway, man, like this game was crazy. It was a crazy finish, and I gotta be honest, I was pretty nervous. I was nervous for a while because my Badgers came out a little cold. Ohio State started pulling away, and I guess they just like to keep my heart beating fast, man, and get me close to a nervous breakdown because they found a way to come back in it, and then I gotta get another bell though for Ohio State's defense, man. I'd ask for 98 of them, but we'd be here a long, long time. Because, man, Joe Duncan with that 98-yarder in the end, I don't know what the defense was doing, but what a sweet way to end it and get the victory. So my Badgers get it done. Man, that was a great game to watch, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah, I don't even know why I even do my segment for Wisconsin games, because clearly Bill is on top of that game. He has all the stats for that one right
See, I
there.
didn't say any stats except for the
Anyway,
98
whatever.
stats. That's the only stat I need.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Duncan. 77 yards. All right, man. Ohio State, rest in peace right there, man. You blew it. Malcolm Love was terrible in this game. Bill knows it.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Bill knows it.
Rest in peace to the Russian defense of OSU. Oh man, 14 carries for 177 yards. One touchdown. Okay. Rest in peace to the QB spy, the QB contained for Wisconsin. Folk handed in 163 yards for Wisconsin on you guys, man. So that was kind of crazy. 2 touchdowns,
pretty.
18 carries. Yeah, it wasn't a pretty win. All right, go ahead. You rest in peace, Smitty, because I can't hear the bells.
Yeah. I hit it again just in case.
Yeah,
you hear
that's
that
what
on the
Wisconsin,
replay.
y'all.
Hey.
Yeah, even if you win, you still get bells. Okay, now
Dang,
look.
you turned it around on me 2 games later.
Yeah. Yeah. OSU's wide receiver core was lighting it up though, man. Shepard, Dietrich, and Declan Ward, man, have all had pretty good games. And honorable mention to Cephas, 5 receptions, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. That's a Wisconsin boy, yep. And Julius Castillo?
Castillo.
Yeah, Castillo. Okay, yeah, 5. He had 5 receptions, 46 yards, but he did have a touchdown, so I threw him in there as well. Wisconsin gets it done, man. But rest in peace, Ohio State. Hey, you guys blew it. It's over.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
98 times they did it, man. That's a big run.
Yeah, that's a tough loss, but the crazy part also, there's a lot of scenarios on why the end of these last 2 weeks are very important, because even with this loss and a lot of the losses that, we felt like, man, Ohio State should have won some games that they lost, but they just did not play up to caliber, and they are 4-6, so they have to win out the rest of the season as well in order to be in a bowl game. It will definitely be an upsetting season for them to be a team that went all the way to the playoffs last year to fall to not even compete in a bowl game. So that very upsetting for them. They got great talent on their team, but just were not able to, hold on and finish it out. And the defense still can't believe that 98-yard run given up. They're going to have to get that together. Can't afford to have that happen here in these last 2 weeks coming up. All right, so next we had Oklahoma falling to UCLA. This is by far the worst that Oklahoma has looked, as they were only able to put up 9 points. They've never scored less than double digits in points this entire season. And UCLA, this has been a team also to look out for. UCLA has been kind of like the upset team. They've been beating some teams that have been up there, and they've kind of lost the teams that they shouldn't have. So I mean, it's kind of up and down for them. But they were able to knock out the Rock and the Sooners 20-9.
Yeah, I think UCLA sort of just suffers from a couple of inconsistencies sometimes on the offensive side of the ball. That's really, I think, been one of their main issues. But they get it done here, man. They put up 20. But hats off to the defense, though, because we know that Oklahoma has had an electric offense this year, one of the best offenses, and they shut them down, man. 9 points, not a single touchdown. That's huge. That's a huge win for UCLA, especially considering, like we've been talking about, man, the playoffs and the bowl games coming up. I mean, wasn't UCLA, they were ranked 13, and they come in at number 7, Oklahoma, and they beat them bad. Like, it might have only been an 11-point game, but based off of how the game went, this felt like a much bigger blowout for UCLA to me. So hats off to UCLA.
Yeah, I got to give a dual bill out, man. a dual bill out to Oklahoma and UCLA, because first of all, UCLA was 16% on third down. They were 2 of 12 on third down. They still got this win, so that's a bill for Oklahoma now. Because come on, man, 2 of 12 and they y'all don't get it done. Oh man, that's just crazy. And then looking at my boy DJ, man, he had a terrible performance, man. Boy, and it's just not that's not the type of performance we're expecting out of that caliber guy there. 20 of 35, just 57% completion percentage. He had a 63.9 QBR. Just not the DJ that we know. I was just sitting here making sure, I wanted to kind of pause and make sure I had the settings and everything straight, because I was like, oh no, man, what's going on here? No shade against you with UCLA, but when we see DJ come out, you guys already know we're expecting The Rock to show and prove, man.
That was The Rock with the fanny pack, man.
That just didn't happen in this game. Although Jace Worth, OG Holman, your new name is OG.
There it is.
The OG Holman, man. Me and him been going back and forth for weeks with the OG name. I really like this guy, man. He's a quiet guy, very mannerable, respectful man. Always in the community though, checking things out, lurking. Man, he always comes to the podcast. He's always in the games. So I'm just gonna call you OG because you carry yourself like that, man. So there you go, Holman, man. The OG. Godspeed. All three of them held it down. And so did Trey Simeons on defense, man. 10 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Decent day. But yeah, really kind of was wondering what was going on with OU in that one.
Yeah, very upsetting loss right there from Oklahoma. That's definitely the worst game that they've had. And definitely looking forward to them bounce back. But after that loss, it's going to be very tough. I don't think they have a chance after that one to even make it into the playoffs at this point. Even though they only got 4 losses on the season, I mean, they're going to need a lot to go in their favor. And even if that does happen, I still don't quite see. But we'll talk more on that when we get a look at the top 25 rankings. But a big win right there from UCLA. Huh?
Hey, hold on for a second. That's Holman on the cover, right?
No.
Bill. That's not Holman. That's not Holman.
That's not Holman.
Oh, who is that?
That better not be somebody other than a linebacker.
Yeah, I think that's a defensive player. I think this is a safety.
I was about to say, Holman, if that's you with that defensive mask.
Yeah, you better not be.
Yeah, we got rules in the RFL now. We're not having guys. I think that's Roland's mask I was using.
Yeah, that's Roland's mask. I was about to get Bill on him.
It could be Roland's mask no more. That's done.
Bars.
That's funny, man.
Yeah. Not that many bars. No more.
The second to last game, this was a huge game, man. I think this might have been the best game of the week, as Oregon was able to pull off a huge upset. It might be the biggest upset this week, man.
Oh, yeah.
And especially the way that they've done it. Oregon was able to beat Baylor on the road at the last minute with a deep bomb out here to Kelvin Lewis, as you can see him out there with the one hand up. This was him after that touchdown celebration. But they get it done over the Baylor Bears, 32-28.
Hey, you know what, man? I think this comeback and this big win, I think it can put down for one play. And I know Rob's going to know what I'm talking about, man. At the end of the half, they went for it all to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And, man,
78-yarder.
Yes, and it turned the whole game around, man, because Owen Jack came out like a cold-blooded killer after that, and he was just putting the ball right on the money, man.
Mm-hmm.
Great game for Oregon's offense, and I need to rest in peace Baylor, man, because this is just like the couple of games I mentioned before. We are in prime, riding out to the postseason, to the playoffs. Baylor is what, number 3 right now?
Yeah, they were number 3 in this.
You can't, Oregon's a good team. Owen Jack's a great quarterback. You cannot be losing these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
You're number 3, man. This is not something you guys can be doing. So like on one side, Oregon played a heck of a game. Hats off to Owen Jack and the whole crew over there because they had a great game. But Baylor, man, you guys can't be coming into the postseason like this, man, because you're gonna go home real fast with this kind of performance.
Man, to the chat right now, man. Let me get all fire emojis in the chat right now, man, because this was over 1,200 yards of offense.
Yeesh.
Fire, fire. That was nuts. So go ahead, put the fire emoji in there right now, man. Both these quarterbacks looked great. Jack, obviously the 131.2 QBR, 31 to 41, 411 yards. That guy was 75% production, man. 3 touchdowns, getting it done. Tyler Bowl, 122.4 QBR, 26 to 34, 402 yards for him, 76%. He had 2 touchdowns, and he just had 1 little interception, man. You know, it was all good. Just a little interception.
And Beazle put a firefighter in here.
Dude, you guys look at Foster?
What happened with Foster?
You just got the fire with the dots next to it.
Got the fire with the.
Oh, I don't know why that made me laugh so much. He tried to do the emoji and it just came out the word fire.
Oh, just the word fire.
yeah.
Yeah, you see. Oh man,
I don't know why that made me laugh so much. My bad.
Yeah. Anyway, man, that's crazy. Anyway, but yeah. So that was a great game, man. Cody Carter, 121 yards on 24 touches there. What did I say? Almost at least had to put a. Oh! I almost had to put out an Amber Alert on Cody Carter, man, because he was kind of, I don't know, I was worried about him for a minute, man. I was like, I don't know about Cody Carter not showing up. Where is he at? You know, and then all of a sudden he kind of exploded there. Honorable mentions go off to Oregon's Stephon Harris, 8 receptions, 121 yards. Oh, Kelvin Lewis, 8 receptions, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns. Oh, Jimmy Martinez, 6 receptions, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. And then I had to go on the Baylor side. We got to talk about that guy, Winkleman, man. Winkleman, 6 receptions, 152, 1 touchdown. And then Jones over there had 6 receptions, 62 yards. Jones is making some really clutch catches at times for them. That was solid. Dan Glissick continues to just be a beast, man. 12 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. I also gave Milton, Berryhill, Reed, and Fowler great days. This is a unit. I thought that those guys really, especially like, honestly, Reed was kind of quiet in this game, but it's for a good reason because he was kind of strapping over the middle, a lot. But although the wide receiver core were killing it on the outsides, like I don't really remember Reed really getting worked in the middle as much as I just remember like more catches up the sidelines and stuff like that. But I'd have to go back and rewatch to confirm that. Berryhill, I saw him in on some action, but man, he had his hands full because the wide receiver, that Kelvin just kept going crazy on these guys, man.
Yeah.
So that was just nuts with Berryhill. I felt that Berryhill though did a good job of keeping, like, that's what a safety is supposed to do. He's supposed to keep the game as close as possible. He's supposed to make sure that the passes over the top, are not going for touchdowns and stuff like that. And I felt like he did a good job there, based off of this performance by the wide receiver core. I mean, we're talking about over 400 yards of passing, almost 400 yards of, receiving yards for Stephon, Kelvin, and Jimmy. So it's like, man, these guys had great days, and he still kept, and the game was still close, 32-28 is not even a lot. So I had to give him the honorable mention there. I thought he did a good job, trying to control that. But whatever was going on the outside, man, it was just nuts. Graham Jr. for Oregon as well. He's on the defense. He had 10 tackles and 3 tackles for a loss. The defensive line for Baylor is so raw, man. Yeah, I really like those guys. Just watching, Woodson and Forbes. Forbes is in there, man. Just in there, trying to do what he could do. They did struggle sometimes because of the secondary, but other than that, man, I just thought this was a really good game all around. And so, yeah, man, I was highly entertained by that game.
A huge win right there by the Ducks, and they too, another team just needs to win one more game, and they're going to be bowl eligible to be able to compete in the college series. And for the final game, this was a very important game, especially for Alabama, because they took a series of 2 losses before heading into this matchup, and this was like I said, a must-win, and they hosted Florida. And we figured this game was going to be close, and it started out very shaky in the beginning, not a lot of points, very defensive, but Alabama, after that slant completion to Henry Ruggs that he took it all the way to the house, they just caught fire after that, and Florida could not do anything with them as they were able to blow out the Gators 38-7.
Yeah, this game was pretty one-sided to me, man. Alabama just came in and wrecked stuff for Florida. To use Smitty's saying, and they trashed them. That's what happened, man. Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, I'm sorry, Florida, but you guys got beat up by Alabama. And like you said, this was a must-win. Alabama needed this one after having the loss, man. They needed this win, and they get it done. They got some help also from some of the other games in the prior to theirs for some of the teams that they needed to lose, and hopefully it works out for them. We're about to see the new rankings, so hopefully it helps them out. But yeah, huge win for Alabama, man, and they came out looking like they're ready to push for the playoffs.
Yeah, man. Next. No, I'm just messing around, man. Look, Florida, man. I didn't think that. I really didn't think that Bama was gonna, in the words of Smitty, trash them like this, man. 38-7. But I'm gonna tell you, man. It's a reason. It's a reason you don't see alligators in the ocean, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the roll tide just came through and just straight rolled over him, man, drowned him immediately. And it's just, man, McCall, man. In that game, McCall became the second best passer in the nation, 180.5 QBR rating. The 31 of 47 that game, but he had 441 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I'm gonna tell you, man, like he gets it done. He gets it done with little run support. What we know about Najee Hill is that he has not been Najee Harris. He has not been a devastating back at all this season. 90% of the teams here in the college series have devastating backs who are putting up 150 yards, 120 yards easy. And this is not one of them. Bama's of the very few. So that means that McCall has had to not only be the running back at times, but he's had to have a superior passing day than most quarterbacks in the league who have these backs. I can't imagine if Bama had Cam Perkins or Amir Williams, or even Sandstrom or Markman or something like that. I can't imagine what would happen, But what I can tell you is that his efficiency is high and his production is high. And, he got the ball to Ruggs 6 times, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got the ball, to Pavo 7 times, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. He got the ball to Dunn, 8 receptions there. He got the ball to Forrestal, 6 receptions there. And, he just kept pounding. Like even when they had like 3 and outs or whatever, and the defense would come back and stop, Florida, he would come back and he would still keep his team still going down all the way to the last moment. Like they were about to hang 44 on him. You know what I mean? Like it was about to be 44. This could have been 45-7, but they let the clock run out. They didn't want to run up the score, But yeah, man, it was a good day. On the other side for Florida, Swain, 10 receptions, 118 yards, 1 touchdown, did his thing. But Bama, they just did a good job, of keeping Nino the fourth contained. Barrowman was contained that whole game, strapped. They kept Trevor Campbell from taking away. They took away all the windows of opportunity for Trevor Campbell, who was actually a really good pocket quarterback, and they took those windows away from him, and made him almost like kind of irrelevant in the game, and that's kind of why Florida didn't move the ball, because they got rid of the quarterback and the halfback and the tight end. So another honorable mention I gave was to Charles Turner. Boy,
he's a beast.
His presence over the middle was insane.
Dude had 15 tackles in that game, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes. 15 tackles, 2 TFLs, playing the zone, hitting dudes over the middle, doing everything he could. And so, you already know I was going to be long-winded with Bama, man. They get the W. And that it is what it is.
Was that the guy that you guys were saying even had double-digit tackles in solo tackles? Or that's
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah,
else?
he had 10.
That was
He
him.
had 10
Yeah,
out of the
that's what I thought.
15 that was solo. That's generic prospect, my boys.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in the RFL draft, and he's been balling. A huge win there, though, by Alabama. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get a look at these new top 25 rankings.
Ooh,
As,
let's see.
Oh, man. It's time to go ahead and see what happened. A lot of big teams that shouldn't have lost, and these are the results now. So looking at this, Georgia, of course, number 1. USC staying at number 2. At number 3 is Clemson now. You got Auburn at 4, Baylor 5,
Wow.
Alabama 6, LSU 7, UCLA 8, Oklahoma 9, Florida 10, Penn State 11, Michigan 12, Washington 13, Florida State 14, Oklahoma State 15, Minnesota 16, Wisconsin 17, Miami 18, Oregon 19, West Virginia 20, Iowa 21, Texas 22, Nebraska finally getting in the rankings at 23, Ohio State 24, and hanging on there by a thread, Michigan State all the way down to 25 now. So looking at these rankings, what you guys thoughts? I definitely got some questions to ask about this, because now this is where we start to talk about who we feel is going to make the playoffs, and it's looking crazy right now looking at these rankings.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy, man. To me, and I know there's obvious reasons for this, but like I'm like, how does Clemson leapfrog Auburn? That's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Clemson was 8, right, and Auburn 6. They both won, but somehow Auburn falls. Yeah, that's just, to me, that's crazy. And I know like same with like Alabama. I know that they had a big win too. But I mean, I guess we'll just have to hear some explanation from how this thing works, man. Because
yeah, so looking from what I'm seeing here, so Clemson, they've given up, where Auburn's got them beat is they've given up less points, but Clemson has scored 60 more points than them, and their point differential is 76 compared to their 47. So they're beating them in more categories with the same record, and they've never played each other, so they beat them in those aspects.
I just, especially like, and I know that like it doesn't take the strength of scheduling, which really sucks because like, man, Clemson got that win off of Notre Dame and by nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was not a very pretty win, and Auburn had a big win. So I just, that's crazy to me, man. So but I mean, hey, the ranking system is the ranking system. But yeah, to me, that's a crazy one for me.
Yeah, all I gotta say, man, is that Clemson, Auburn, and Baylor, y'all not out of the clear yet, man. It's still the thick of the woods here.
Definitely.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, Clemson, y'all gotta go out and play Oklahoma in week 13. Baylor, y'all gotta play West Virginia in week 13. Let me find out who you guys gotta play in week 12.
Well, we're gonna get into the schedule.
I got to make my point though. You know what
okay.
I'm saying? So yeah, so Baylor got to play Miami. You see what I'm saying, in week 12. And so, like I'm saying, these things could really change around real quick right here as far as who's going to be in the top 4 in the playoffs. You see, so and then Bama actually plays Auburn in that Iron game. You know what I mean? So that's going to be real interesting with these top 5, top 6 right now in the next couple of weeks.
So right now, pretty much it's between, for the playoffs, 1 through 7. Okay. So when we look at the the records here, of course, Georgia's not going to be touched. You got USC, who I feel is going to probably more than likely finish at 2. So you look at 3 through 7 here, and they've all got the same record except for LSU. They've played one more game than the other guys from 3 to 6, right? So LSU literally has one more game left to play, and they're probably going to jump up in ranking once the games match up compared to the other guys, because they have one more loss than everyone else unless they win. But the tough thing about Alabama is, great they got their win, but they have a very slim chance as well to make the playoffs despite the win, because they lost to LSU. And since they lost to LSU, LSU is 7-4, Alabama 7-3, and Alabama for one has to win out, and they have to hope that LSU loses their final game, I think, in order to be in the playoffs. And their final game of the season is against Texas A&M. So, I mean, that's a very winnable game for LSU. That's a tough scenario for Alabama. But once again, it's the RFL. You never know what's going to happen. Then, of course, like you said, you pretty much reached the points that I was going to talk about. So I guess, Baylor at 7-3, Auburn at 7-3. You don't know what's going to happen here. And that's why Alabama also has a little bit of a case to swing in there also, because their last game is against Auburn. So if they can beat Auburn, let's just look at this, and let's say Baylor loses or Auburn loses or whatever, they at least, I think, can get up to the 4th spot. They've kind of got to hope that Clemson falls off here in order to be in here, because the way it's looking.
I was thinking about Clemson though, because Clemson is, who are they playing?
So Clemson is playing.
Now, your boy
Oklahoma's tough.
Tell us about your dual quarterback now.
Yeah, Daryl Johnson. He's going to be. But I tell you what, putting up 9 points like he did this past week ain't going to get it done. So he's going to hope that he better come out here and ball out, because we already know for the most. I don't see Oklahoma getting in this conversation. So they're out of it. So they're just going to be playing to get into the bowl game.
Definitely playing
spoiler. DJ definitely at this point, playing spoiler. But he's got to make sure he brings his A game too, because that Clemson defense is something serious. It's definitely I don't know. I guess it's somewhat still comparable with UCLA. So he's going to be facing a tough defense again, and he's going to need his receivers and stuff to step up. So I mean that's still a questionable game for Clemson, like you said, and I do agree with you with that. But their final game, let's see, Clemson they finish with Oklahoma.
Somebody brought up in the chat, did they beat Clemson?
Who?
Auburn beat Clemson?
Auburn beat Clemson?
Yeah. Let me just double check that.
Hey, Kai, man, I don't know what you're.
Hit this.
What you talking about? How would USC have jumped Georgia? What?
I don't know why the schedule is not bringing up Auburn's, Clemson's. They're only showing 3 games on the schedule.
Chris, when did y'all beat this? When did y'all beat Clemson?
But I think they did. If I remember correctly, I thought it was like 22-24 or something in Auburn.
Was that the overtime game?
No, I think they won that in the close. And I'm seeing it here. Yeah, Auburn did beat Clemson.
Yeah.
So how are they behind?
Yeah, week 2. Yeah, week 2, 24-22. They beat them.
So this is.
So it's going on. See, that's
so it's not throwing the head. See, I have to be the one to catch that. The system doesn't have that. It has head to head, but I don't think it means actually head to head. So I must have not caught that Auburn beat Clemson before. So I was supposed to then, I guess, put Auburn over Clemson. So technically this is going to get changed then, because they did beat Clemson. So I didn't see that. So Auburn would move to number 3 then. Clemson would go to 4. So that's the switch up right now that we have currently.
So does this thing do about points for? Points
it does everything else, but the 2 things that it doesn't have is of course the strength of schedule, which at this point we're not going to throw that in, and the I have to make sure that I catch every team that beat a certain team with the same record. You know what I'm saying? So if it's like such and such, both teams are 7-3, whoever beat the other, they have to be ranked over.
You put them above them.
So I don't know why this, because I thought the system was doing this. So apparently this head-to-head thing in this system probably doesn't mean what I thought it did. So I have to catch that. I was kind of catching some of them, but it looked like they were ordering it at the time. But they did not catch this. And I think the reason they didn't catch is because, like I said, when I go and look at the schedule on the system, it's only showing 3 games for both Clemson and Auburn, like as if the other game, they didn't play any other games. So it's and I don't see on those 3 games their matchup. So that means that something's going on with the website right now. So that means I have to switch those guys. I don't know what happened there. There's a couple.
It makes
teams.
sense. There's a problem with that though, because I mean, I think we can all agree that Wisconsin would probably be a top 10 team if everything was like.
I don't think the system's flawed that much. But yeah,
whatever, man.
That comment sponsored by Cap. Come to Cap City for all your latest fittings.
But yeah, so that's a legitimate change up that can happen. So I can see where the error happened in the system here, because they don't show the matchup in the, like they have it in the full schedule matchup, but when you click on the team to see who they played, like for the team schedule, it does not have that matchup in there, and they're only showing 3 games total. so it's acting as if they never played each other. So with that being said, I can change that. But I don't see anything else right now that has to be switched.
We don't want to move Alabama up?
Alabama, no. They lost to Baylor. They ain't moving that up.
Baylor, y'all in the way, Baylor. In the way.
Yeah, come on now. You guys let Oregon, like, get you like that, and then you're just going to hold up a number 5 spot, dude? What the hell,
Crazy.
man?
It's crazy, man.
And that's the tough thing, man, about it is because, bro, and I've seen guys talking about this for the conference championship games. So the conference championship games are not going to be ran with divisions. We only got 32 teams here, and we don't even have a full conference in this series. So the way it is there's only going to be 5 conference championship games, of course, because that's the 5 things, and it's only going to be based off of who is number 1 and number 2 in that conference. We're not doing divisions in that category. So that going to my point of saying that that's going to be even harder for Alabama because they lost to LSU, and then if we're talking about an SEC championship game, they got to hope LSU loses to Texas A&M, because if they win that, then it's going to I think it's going to be LSU versus Georgia for the SEC championship, or LSU or Georgia versus Auburn, one of those. But it won't be Auburn if Alabama does beat Auburn.
So Bama has two games left, and LSU has 1 game left.
Mm-hmm. And that's why currently LSU is behind them, because they have one more loss than them at 7-4, but they played one more game.
Bama's just playing fate here. If Bama wins a game, right, and then loses a game, they both would be 8-4 if LSU wins. So who wins that? Alabama?
LSU would win it because they beat Alabama. So they're both. If LSU wins and Alabama wins out, they're both going to be 8-4. LSU gets it because they beat them.
So Bama, you just gotta win out. Just win all the games.
You gotta win out. You gotta hope that LSU loses out on top of that. And if that doesn't work out, they gotta hope that Clemson falls off and Baylor falls off. And of course, if they win out, they gotta beat Auburn. So that's a lot that has to work for them in order for them to even to make it. But there is a very small chance.
So you're saying okay, so Alabama wins, that's 9-3 on the season, right?
They can't win 9. Well, yeah, they can't win 9 games at this point. Can they? Hold on.
Why not? Yeah, they got 2 games left, and they're 7-3.
9-3. So what is going on here?
That's what I'm saying.
What is going on?
That's what I was saying. If they win out, which is highly likely, they'll be 9-3, and then honestly, with the teams with what Clemson, Auburn, and Baylor are facing.
Oh, you know what?
I'm
tripping. I am tripping. Yeah,
you are.
I'm tripping crazy. Yeah, Bama.
What are you doing, man?
Yeah,
I'm a
I'm
Bama
tripping
fan.
crazy right now.
Give yourself
I'm
a
a
bell,
Bama
man.
fan.
I'm gonna give myself a bell for that.
Bell.
Hey, I was I was looking at that. I was like, dang, this is sad news for Bama. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even equating the fact that LSU only has 1 more game left to play.
Yeah.
But Bama's the one who got 2 more. So if they win,
2 more
okay.
games.
So you guys do have a good chance. You better win out.
All they gotta do is they gotta beat Bet. Yo, y'all gotta beat Auburn.
Cannot lose.
And if you let JTA beat you, McCall, boy, oh boy, I'm gonna be on your neck.
And another thing is they have to hope that Clemson and Baylor loses a game, because
they gotta hope that Clemson and Baylor lose.
That also because
of course
they lost to Baylor, so they can't get over them, and Clemson is
let me
currently
look at UC,
over
USC,
Baylor.
USC has 1 more game. Oh, but they would be 8-3 though. Oh, but wait a second, Smitty. Hold on now. If USC loses, let's see this. If USC loses to Notre Dame, bro,
which we know that's not going to happen.
Oh no,
we don't know, but it's not happening.
32 points.
we don't know for sure,
no.
but I don't see that happening. But yeah, let me see. USC, they're playing. Okay, so they're playing UCLA, so they could lose that. They can lose that, but I don't see them losing to Notre Dame, man.
Oh no, Smitty!
But
wait,
if
hold
they
on,
do
Smitty.
lose that,
Yes, man, they got 2 more. Yeah, they got 2 more games, so they could easily end up 8-4 with 2 losses.
Yeah.
Corolla,
you're gonna have to come through.
It's all on you, buddy.
Y'all gotta at least USC, you got to at least
Oh,
win
man.
one game. And that's not
Yeah,
even really
yeah.
safe either because, well, yeah, they're going to be safe because their defense, with their points allowed, I don't see even if they tied up with the guys that they wouldn't still be ranked over them. So, well, you know what? No, because it'll still be a three-way tie if Baylor stays over Alabama and USC. I know we're talking about a whole lot here. If Baylor
it's a
stays
lot.
over Alabama,
I love it, man.
and USC was to win one game and go 9-3, I was thinking that since it's 9-3 and Alabama beat USC, that Alabama would go over them, but they can't because it's a three-way tie with a record. So that has to go to the regular who's beating each other out in the stats thing. So yeah, I honestly don't see that happening. So Bama's gonna have to win out.
Smitty, did you start recording games yet?
I haven't.
Because you might want to put some of these on prime time. Make sure that all these games, these matchups are you know what I'm saying?
With the call.
Yeah, because if these have the implications like that, maybe we shouldn't have these as streams, like premieres.
We'll
We should
show
have
up
these
the schedule and we'll look at it.
Okay,
But
okay.
that we would have to call. Would you talking about calling extra games?
We probably would have to if these got the implications. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. That'll actually help us out in terms of recording. So
yeah.
let's go back to our old 2 games in separate commentary then. Let's do that. And since this is big like that, man, honestly,
it's that big, man.
It's that big. It's a lot of teams, man, that the season's really on the line for this playoff. So I think, honestly, what are you feeling about, or would you be up to doing that every day for at least the last 2 weeks like we were?
I mean, if we have to, man, because the bigger games, you can't just put those on Premiere, man. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to. I mean, it's only going to be a couple of weeks, So I mean,
I know everyone's going to want us to do this, so I guess it's official. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back to what we were doing earlier, and we're going to be streaming every day, man. So we're going to have 2 games. Let's go ahead and move on to the schedule, though. Let's look at that. And actually, the schedule's going to be changed up. So schedule's going to be changed up. Here's a look at the Week 12 schedule, and we're going to make sure we call out the primetime games and get these switched up. But what we're going back to the schedule, we're going to call 2 games tomorrow separately. So I'll call a game, Rob will call a game for guys who were here early in the RFL season. We're going to go back to that schedule. So that'll be on Thursday. We'll have 1 game on Friday. Honestly, man, if we want to call a lot more, you want to separate that too?
what, the Friday game?
And have 2 games separate?
Well, just find the implicated games, and then we can decide what's the best to do there.
So
but,
we'll look at that
I mean,
situation.
I'm with it. I'm with
Because,
calling.
I mean, at the end of the day, we would
call
call the game on Friday. So I don't see, if it's an extra
yeah.
game, we could just separate it. So we'll see. But so it could be 2 games on Friday too. And then on Saturday, we only had 1 premiere day, didn't we? And then we had So we're gonna have our premiere day on Saturday, and we don't know which games are. Well, we'll figure those out. We might can discuss that here live with you guys, so you guys know what that's going to be while we're looking at the schedule.
Well, if we're gonna, we should call games on Saturday too, man. You know what I'm saying?
Saturday, I don't think we have to. Because bro, if
okay.
you think about it, bro, that's 4 games already from Thursday, Friday, then Saturday we have our premiere games. Then on Sunday we can call 2 more games, so that's already 6 for us. And then on Monday, 2 more games. That's 8. So 8 of these games could get called.
Okay. Well, that's good though. We don't have to stream them then.
Yeah, and we don't have to stream those.
I'd rather do that.
Yeah,
I'd rather just call them, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're gonna do that then. So let's go ahead and see what we'll talk about who we think is gonna win, but let's go ahead and discuss this live now then. So what I do have at prime time, so these games will be getting called for sure at prime time. Let me make sure I bring up the my notes, because I can't really tell all the way from the. Well, yeah, I can from the times. So tomorrow we starting out with UCLA versus USC. That's going to be a definite primetime game. Another definite primetime game, Texas A&M versus Alabama. And we have Washington versus Florida State. I'm not sure if that's really primetime, man. So
Washington and Florida State.
Yeah, that has no implications at all.
That has no
So we'll
implications
have
at
to
all.
switch that up. And then the final primetime game we had was Baylor and in Miami and Baylor. All right, so let's just say, all right, so I'll call the UCLA and USC game at 6 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. At 8 p.m. For your following game, we can throw in that Alabama Texas A&M game
tomorrow night.
Yeah. So next on the list, looking at other important implications.
I know the team that they're playing isn't exactly important, but what about the Clemson game?
Well, yeah, because they got to win a win, and that's Joseph Fontanez. He might come, and Tariq Lewis on the defense with all them picks they've been getting. I mean, Fecky might go in there and throw some interceptions. You never know.
Yeah, so I got that's out here that I think need to be commentated.
Yeah, I think that needs to be commentated.
Let's go with that. So I guess we'll go with that on Sunday along with Tennessee and Auburn. So that's another important game. We'll figure out. So which one you want to call here, Rob? Clemson, Utah, and Tennessee and Auburn.
Let me get the Clemson and Utah, man.
All right, so I'll take Tennessee, Auburn.
You never know what you're gonna get with Fontanez, man. He might come out and do some damage.
Yeah. So that'll be that game. So that's all gonna go down on tomorrow and Friday. So let's skip the premier games because whatever we don't pick for the rest of this is going to be, shown with no commentary. So on Sunday we got 2 more games. And let me see what we got here. Because now we're looking at outside of playoffs because that's pretty much the playoff things that we've colored. We got Miami and Baylor. I'll call that one. And we got to look for another game that has, I guess, bowl implications to it. So let's see who's got to win. Oklahoma and Michigan.
Yeah, I was just going to say Oklahoma and Michigan would be one that we could you could put in there too, just because. I mean, Oklahoma's at 9, but I mean, that's still it's like you said, man, it's still such a jumbled mess up front there.
Yeah. All right. So, Rob, you'll get that one, Michigan and Oklahoma.
That's Sunday night?
Yes.
All right.
And now
Pack Rock don't show up for that one.
Yeah. So that's going to be on Sunday and Monday to close out. Now I remember why I put Washington in this, because if Washington wins this game, they become bowl eligible. If Florida State wins this game, they become bowl eligible. So this is for who's going to be bowl eligible. So Washington versus Florida State. And then what else is very important? Penn State's already bowl eligible. Oklahoma State isn't.
Florida? Mississippi State?
This one's terrible. Well, I'll still leave it to that because I would say Oregon and Washington State, but I honestly not.
Is Oregon bowl eligible already?
No, if they win that game, they are.
I think that'd be a good game to watch, man, especially after their big win last week.
But it's the opponent though. Like, that's the biggest thing. We might can find something better than that.
Give OJ the Juice Man some love on prime.
He's always getting love, man. Let's go see with somebody else. What about Ohio State, Notre Dame? And the reason why I say that is because Ohio State has to win out in order to be bowl eligible. They, of course, could beat Notre Dame, but Notre Dame put up a little bit of a fight last week. And if Notre Dame does upset Ohio State, then it's over for those guys. So that's a big one. Let me see. Wisconsin, Nebraska.
I mean, obviously, Wisconsin-Nebraska is probably the most important game out of everybody.
Wisconsin-Nebraska is kind of big, too, because if Wisconsin wins, they become bowl eligible. And Nebraska, believe it or not, these guys actually been on a winning roll. If they win out, they become bowl eligible. This is a team that we thought was trash. Now they're ranked. So this is a difficult one. So this is what we have. We have Notre Dame, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Oregon, Washington State, and I honestly feel like, we got Texas here and Michigan State. Let me see what's going on.
What about Florida though? Are they still in the discussion because
they're
Florida?
Florida's straight. They're already bowl eligible. Mississippi State is.
Well, they're not even ranked, are they?
They're not ranked, but if they went out, they're bowl eligible. But some chance of that against Florida on the road, so I don't see that being something to cover. Let me look at this Michigan State, though. Michigan State's got to win out, and if Texas wins, no, they got to win out, too. man, it's just about every game other than Ole Miss and Michigan, no, and Minnesota and Mississippi State and Florida that's available right now. So what I'll do right now is I'm gonna actually make that a poll then on social media. So let's narrow this down to 4 teams. So we got 4 games. So we got Wisconsin, Nebraska, Oregon, Washington State, Notre Dame, Ohio State. That's 3. And I guess the 4th one that we can throw in there for the poll would be Michigan State versus Texas. And the reason why I say that is because whoever loses that game, they're not going to a bowl game. So this is for whoever can keep their bowl hopes alive. So I'll do that. Hey, can you write that down for me, Bill, so I remember that? Put that in the poll tonight.
All right, what are we doing now?
So I'm gonna have a poll vote for the community to vote for the game.
Nebraska.
Yep, and then we got Oregon versus Washington State.
Oregon versus Washington State.
And Notre Dame versus Ohio State. And the last one is Michigan State versus Texas. So we'll You said what?
I'm about to log into work.
Oh, okay. Well,
Stuff.
all right. Well, yeah, you go ahead and do that.
I'm still gonna stay on. I'm just let you know I'm kind of quiet right now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got the games written down here.
Okay. Cool. So we'll so don't mind the schedule right now. That's all going to get changed up, and I'm gonna make sure I don't post this on social media. Glad I didn't do that before this, but all right. So pretty much we're just gonna go through the list and talk about who we think's gonna win. Let's try to hurry this one up though, because we are kind of running a little bit behind. So UCLA and USC, who you guys got?
I'm gonna take USC.
Yeah, USC.
All right, I'm going with USC as well. Wisconsin, Nebraska.
You already know it's Wisconsin.
No,
I
I'll
go
take
Wisconsin on that. Yeah, I feel sick, but
No, you don't. You feel right. It feels right, and you know it, and you just don't want to admit it.
Oregon versus Washington State. I think everyone's going with Oregon there.
Yeah, Washington State. Yeah.
Okay, Clemson versus Utah. I got Clemson.
Yeah, I got Clemson too.
I got Fontenez, man.
You got Fontenez?
Oh snap! Yeah.
Put my money on Fontenez, man.
Okay, so Utah for
Show
for
off
Rob.
here.
All
Off
right.
here in week 12,
We
man.
got Oklahoma State versus Penn State.
I'm gonna take Penn State, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the natural Penn State
Yeah.
all the way.
All right, Penn State. I guess we're all going with Auburn here. Tennessee versus Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Auburn.
Yeah. Alabama versus Texas A&M. I'm gonna go with
Alabama.
Roll Tide. I hope JTA shows up though, man. It'd be a big deal for him to get a win against Bama in week 12.
That would be
Yeah,
big.
that would
That would
eliminate.
be a big win for him, man.
And stop him from going to playoffs. Yeah, that's crazy.
That'd be a big win.
All right, Ole Miss, Minnesota. I think this might be the week Minnesota finally comes back.
I hope so.
They better beat Ole Miss, because if they
This
lose
is the
this,
rest in peace bowl, man.
yeah, rest in peace bowl. Whoever loses,
So-
well, Ole Miss is already out of it. This is the second year
Yeah.
in a row in the RFL College Series that they don't go nowhere. But Minnesota, man, I mean, they've been needing that one game for so long. They need that. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. I'm going Ohio State.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
I
know,
feel
guys.
you on that too. That's kind of tough. That
Well,
is
like,
kind of tough.
what are you gonna get out of Notre Dame though? Are you gonna get the team we saw for the whole season, or are you gonna get the team we saw last week? You know.
Hey, I'm gonna challenge Fenimore, man. Fenimore, you gotta step up for Ajax, man.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
And
We'll see how
Ajax
it
got
goes.
they got to tone down the picks.
Yeah, he
another
does.
one,
He
too.
does.
Yeah.
And then we got Texas versus Michigan State. I think that's going to be a good one. But I got Texas.
Me too. I liked what Texas did last week. I thought they played well, so I'm gonna go Texas.
I'm going Ricky Vaughn having a good day, and Zoe Sheffield gonna show off, man. I'm going MSU.
Okay, MSU. Oklahoma and Michigan. I got the Rock.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you just gotta go Oklahoma, but like, man, if they come out like they did last week,
Yeah, that was bad.
it was real bad.
Yeah.
But I'll still rock with Oklahoma for this week.
All
Hey,
right.
my boy Hodge getting his first touchdown week 12 against OU, man.
All
I'm
good
going,
to
I'm
see,
going
man.
Skip
Michigan.
the audio.
I'm going Michigan, man. Michigan's getting the win.
You said getting the win too? Okay.
Yeah, they getting the win. Yeah.
Oh man. Rob out here making
I'm
statements.
living dangerous this week, man.
Mad dangerous. We got Mississippi State and Florida. I'm going Florida.
I'm living dangerous in this one, man. I think Trip Baker and Mississippi State's gonna shock Florida.
Oh, you
Mm.
thinking the same?
Hey,
Um,
Florida's down in the dumps right now, man.
I
Somebody
think-
can kick them.
I think Trevor Campbell about to have a 500-yard day, man.
I don't know about no 500. He's probably gonna
All
have
right,
3.
400.
Four?
I give 400. 385 for Trevor Campbell, and they get the win.
All right. Washington, Florida State. I got Washington.
Yeah,
Washington. It's about to be crazy down there.
And this last one is actually pretty big, man. Miami and Baylor.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
gonna go with Baylor here though.
You going Baylor?
Yeah.
You going Baylor?
Got the
I don't
home
know,
field
man.
advantage.
Do
The
I-
receivers
do I
are crazy.
Trust Miami? Nah, I'm gonna go Baylor.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys don't trust ball. Y'all put this on me, man. Come on, man.
They win this game, they go bowl eligible though, so that's huge, man. If they could get it done.
Oh, Miami?
Yes.
Do I want to switch?
But Miami plays Oregon to finish out the season, and if they don't win this one, that's going to definitely be a tough one. And yeah,
Man, I just don't know what DJ White I'm gonna get, man. Am I gonna get DJ White, or is Amir gonna show up and save the day? You know, or is
I was about to
Baylor,
say which.
is Baylor at
I haven't
home?
seen different DJ Whites.
What'd you say?
I was saying I haven't seen different DJ Whites, man. It's been the same DJ White.
I've seen different. You wrong about that, man. I have seen some different DJ Whites, guys. I'm not gonna do them like Smitty did. I think I've seen DJ White like be really great on the ground, and Miami scoop, slip by, and I've seen like DJ White like be decent passing, and nah, man, I don't know, man. I don't know about DJ White, man. I don't know, man. I'm trying my best, man, to believe that he's gonna come in here and compete with Tyler Moe.
Yeah.
But I gotta respect Tyler Moe, man. It wouldn't be right to me as an analyst, man, to sit up here and say that DJ White has a chance to beat Tyler Moe at home. You know what I mean? If you're comparing quarterbacks and what they've done this season, but I do like the defense of Miami, and I wonder
That's
if the
what I wanna see,
defense. Yeah, I wonder if the defense is going to get after. If the defense can get after Mole and rattle him up, and CC doesn't show up, then maybe Baylor doesn't score anything. Anything like maybe it's like an old 18 to 15 game. These 18 to 13 games we've been seeing out of Miami. I mean, so I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna pick anybody in this game, man. I can't.
You gotta pick
Oh,
somebody.
you gotta pick
Rob.
somebody.
You gotta pick somebody, man.
Oh, come on,
You
guys.
gotta pick somebody, man.
Come on, man.
Miami's defense, you better get it done. I'm going Miami.
Oh man.
Hey,
Yeah, I can go either way.
What do you think they're gonna do with Winkleman though?
Not a
That's what I
damn
want to
thing.
see. I
I'm
want to see
excited
it.
for that matchup.
They ain't about to
I
stop
wanna
my
see-
boy Wink. I'm
I
sorry.
want to see some straps. I need to see
All
some
right,
straps
Leo.
out here.
There you go, man. You better lock him down. No catches.
Yeah, you
Hey,
better strap him up.
CP been averaging one pick a game, man. Last couple of
CP's
weeks. I
been
don't know if y'all been noticing that, man.
CP's been having a really
CP
good.
been everywhere, man.
Yup.
He fast, but he gonna be able to keep up with Wink, man. He's been burning everybody.
Well, it's not about keeping up with Wink. It's about whether or not Tyler Moe is going to get the ball to Wink.
The
in
crazy
that
thing
secondary.
about it though is usually he does when he's streaking wide open and he's got to do cook.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, we usually don't say that when it's a fast receiver, but his case, you can't say that
Well, has
because.
he, but can we say that he's done that against a defense like Miami's done?
Yes, he's done it against. He's done it
Against
against.
who?
For one, Bama. Now we could talk about. I know we were talking about the secondary, but they were actually pretty good before the last 2 weeks in their losses, and they couldn't stop the dude from burning them. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, it don't matter what defense they really played, and when it comes to the speed, there hasn't been a single defensive back to keep in front of this dude. So if he's streaking by, he might even burn the safeties. So how they're going to really stop? You know what I mean? And you know another thing for guys if you haven't been peeping Winkleman's game, they don't use that guy primarily as an outside dude. He's in the slot running these streaks, burning. So he's even got more of an advantage with that because he's pretty much against like a third string cornerback or a linebacker, burning them, and then before you know it, it's like one-on-one with the safety, full head of steam with no check.
Thank you, Mitch.
And he's
Thank
out of
you,
there.
Mitch. Smitty, Surtain and Diggs got 89
Okay,
speed,
but
bro.
let's talk about this. If you want to compare speeds, let's talk about how many times have you seen Miami's got beat with deep balls?
We gonna see, man. We gonna
You know,
see.
and honestly, their receiver, their
Talk about the
cornerbacks
fact
aren't that
like, when
fast
we
either.
first started this whole thing at the beginning of the season, and Baylor came into play, and everybody went to Baylor. We were waiting for this matchup.
Yeah,
Reed
we were.
pointed that out to me. Like Miami versus Baylor was like before the series started was the game we wanted to see because all of the prospects basically just like went to these two schools. So this
Yeah,
should be a good game, man.
It should be a great game.
I'm trying to find the speeds, man, because
Oh,
that's
Smitty, you got it. You don't need to look it up. You
No,
got it.
I need to
You
look.
got it. You
this-
got it, bro. Like
I just want to show this aspect because the speed is one thing that I have the biggest concern with when they have to match up against Winkleman because they've been great cornerbacks. Don't get me wrong; they've been doing some good job locking up some receivers, but I've seen them get toasted a few times. You know what I'm saying? And this is Winkleman, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the point I'm trying to say is that these guys. Let me see. Is this the list? These guys might not be able to keep him in front. That's going to be the
what
biggest
I'm saying
challenge.
though is that while I understand that 1-on-1 with Winkleman is kind of dangerous low key because of the speed. The fact that the matter is that Miami does have guys up front who can get pressure to the quarterback and guys in second. So I'm just saying that while he might be burning streaks down the field, that doesn't necessarily mean Winkleman is going to be delivering them if he's under pressure. So I'm thinking that maybe Miami gets a little bit of pressure, up against Baylor, and that might be a struggle for him against them trying to do what he's been doing to other teams, But that's my 2 cents on it.
And another thing about even that is like with the pressure, like let's not underestimate Baylor's offensive line too. They've actually been pretty good, man. So that's going to be even tough for those guys to really get through there with that pressure. Even though they do have talent, so I'm not saying that they won't, but that's not going to be an easy task either. And like I was saying about the speed, like all three of their submitted cornerbacks have 90 speed. So that's exactly what I was talking. Like that's going to be hard, and these guys aren't even going to be the main guys covering Winkleman. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not even outside like that, so he's going to be in the slot. That's going to be tough because that even puts Chris Polk in a tough situation because pretty much he's going to be running stretch routes against safeties. So that's going to be really hard for those guys to have to keep up with that. And even though, he's got to get past the secondary and we're talking about pass rush, he's that fast that he could be, just running, streaking wide open in the zone. And that's going to be a tough part. That's what they're really going to have to focus on. And Chris Polk, another guy who's got 90 speed as well. That's a tall order for that defense to try to cover him. But that is going to be it for the schedule. Let's go ahead and talk about, let me move this one back. Let's go ahead and talk about the last the next 10 reveals for the RFL Top 100. So we got 40 through 21 here. So from 40 to 31, we got Edmund Whiting, Henry. This isn't Henry Nielsen.
Oh, don't
Let's get a build.
We need to drop.
And I drop a bell on my man's Beazle for that.
Oh, Beazle gets the bell.
Yeah, Beazle got the bell for that one. Nielsen, yeah, that's not him. We got Stephen Daly at 38. Derek Gonzalez, 37. Anthony Savoy, the rookie of the year and Reload Bowl winner, 36. Brent Rattay, 35. Look at your boy, man. We're all out there, 34, man.
Look, I'm looking scared right there.
Anthony Washington, 33. Zach Dombrowski, 32. And Lester Gatson, 31. What you guys' thoughts on this?
What am I looking at, guys? Oh, I see you got 2 weeks backed up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is the week before. I mean, this list is different, so I
mean, you can start to see, though, that we were starting to see a little bit more of an influx of the bigger names that even the novel RFL fans know or at least have heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
It's, to me, I don't know, man. Lester Gatson was a huge player, man. I don't even know if I could put him way back at 31 last year based off of what he was doing for the Shamrocks. I know the Shamrocks themselves didn't have a great season, but Gadsden was like the man for them.
Another thing I kind of got a gripe with is your boy Worrell over Brett
Above Savoy?
Rattay. You know, I would put Worrell over Savoy due to the fact of the type of season that let's say like Anthony Savoy, he won a chip, but like a lot of people once again forget, you know, he really didn't have too many great games as a quarterback in itself, and he won games off his legs, yes, but you know, it was a lot of games where he didn't do the best, and his defense helped him win, and you know he's up here in the 30s, but I wouldn't put Worrell over Rattay. You know what I'm saying?
You're just hating right now.
Nah. Well, Rattay, I would definitely say I would probably put him over Worrell.
Okay, but
I would put him over Anthony
to
Washington
counter
too.
that though, right?
Mhm.
I thought that the Huskies had a very like up and down year last year, and part of that was the defense. So I mean, like,
Well,
you
it
know what
really
I'm
wasn't
saying?
too much the defense. It was more so the offense was what was tripping early on.
I'm just
It was
saying.
the offense.
Worrell, while and I'm not trying to make this an argument because Worrell's my quarterback. I'm just saying the Explorers had a much more consistent season than the Huskies did, which is why I can see Worrell being above Rattay in that respect.
Mhm.
But I mean, I get what you're saying though. Rattay is he's more of a, I guess, a cornerstone for the RFL than Worrell is at this point, given their positions respectfully. You
Well,
know?
the main thing I'm looking at, and for my reasonings on that, is because like I'm looking at the player's impact. You know what I'm saying? Like how great of a season and how much of an impact he was on the team. Worrell was definitely a great, but like I think Rattay was like literally like the soul of that defense. Made a lot of big plays, and I would even probably, to be honest, put him over Dombrowski. And I like Dombrowski is a beast, but I think last year he did a little. He was a little bit more, you know, of an important piece than Dombrowski was for the Armadillos. And then looking at everything else here, I mean, I really don't have too much to say. That's my only thing. I think Rattay probably should have been up higher than a few guys I see.
So I was gonna say
Over.
is just Rattay, man.
Yeah.
I just felt like, you know, given the position that the Huskies were in last year, and what we know about Rattay, man, he was putting it down. But I don't have the stats, man. I know he makes these off of the stats and he ranks them and everything. So I mean, maybe Dombrowski had better stats than Rattay, so that's why he's
what I'm
higher than him.
assuming.
But-
And I know
but-
it wasn't by
but-
too much.
But like I say, you know, it's a difference between stats and a difference between actually watching somebody on the field. And we all know Brett Rattay, Rat-a-tat, was a whole lot more effective last year than Zachary Dombrowski. But that's just my 2 cents on that, you know. So.
Yeah, he was like even Rob. You've kind of when you played them, you feared that he would hit stick somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Anybody who played the Huskies feared that dude if he hit the ball carrier. You know. Zach Dombrowski, he's a beast linebacker because he's always making tackles, but he wasn't that type of a factor, I think, compared to Brett Rattay. And then this is the recent post that just came out not too long ago, 30 through 21. We got your boy again there, Bill Bradley Atagwe at 30, Ben Wakefield 29, Dre Shivers 28, Ethan King, big payday now with the Barons 27, Damani Manuel at 26. Big second year for that guy. Dion Gunn has been one of the league's best offensive linemen for years since getting drafted back in season 2. Well, coming in at season 2. Then Rob Slater. There you go, Rob. Your boy on the list
I see
in
him.
the top 25 at 24. Elijah Bentley at 23. Keone Jones, another one of you guys, 22. And Chase Schilling, another beast, man, 21. Anything with this list?
I don't really see much that I would change.
Yeah, I don't see too much.
Yeah,
don't see anything.
it's pretty good this way it is, man. I don't see much that's really like I could have to change something. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
I was trying to get a chat different angles of points of view and everything. Sometimes I don't always subscribe to even what I'm saying, but I just try to be different, you know, just so that we're not all sound the same. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. You know, I just feel like Keone Jones is the best cornerback in the ARC last year, and I feel like, you know, he pretty much. And I know the guys are gonna say, oh well, such and such had 2 more interceptions than he did or whatever. But when you're looking at the grand scheme of things and you're looking at the effectiveness of a team and what Keone Jones meant to the Cougars and how far the Cougars went last year, there was not a single cornerback that was, other than like maybe some Red Dragons or whatever, that was really outplaying him. And on top of that, he played a whole bunch of wide receivers, last year, who were shut down immediately, and one of them being Guyton. He only had like 4 or 5 catches against Keone Jones all season. So like I'm just I'm not gonna say that his list is terrible and everything, but I just like I say, man, it's one thing to go with these stats and everything. It's another thing to go with production, and I get it. It's the production. You get 8 interceptions. The guy has 5. The guy with 5 can't be over the guy with 8. But when you're actually watching these games, and you actually seeing what's going on here, the difference between 8 interceptions and 5 interceptions is nothing when you're looking at a fact that maybe this guy had 8 interceptions and his team was terrible. You know what I'm saying? And this guy, only had 6 interceptions, but he had them in big time moments, pick sixes, and they won games. You know what I'm saying? Changing the game. You know what I mean? So, I'm respecting the list and everything. I'm really happy that Slater is up here as well. I didn't think Slater was going to be this high, honestly. I don't think Slater really got a whole lot of love at all. Slater had remarkable. You guys might see in the article there, a Pro Bowl season he had. He didn't make the Pro Bowl, but I felt he had a Pro Bowl season. I felt that he had, really good. He was a really good, efficient quarterback who put up a lot of production this season, and got wins for the Cougars, and that's why they went. And I feel like he balled better than players who had higher overalls than he did. So, but it's all apples and oranges and all in the eye of the beholder. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut my mouth, man. Salute
There's
to
one thing that I just thought of though that I'm curious about, and maybe he's this good that he's still gonna get shown in the top 20, but I don't know if you can even put somebody at this position that high given the kind of guys we haven't seen yet. But I see Dion Gunn here at 25. I just feel like we're missing somebody, man. Where's the great? Yeah,
the great.
I mean,
if he's not higher, but no, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I haven't seen him at all so far at all. You know what I mean?
The best offensive lineman, I would have to say, is Dion Gunn, though.
Yes, but what I'm saying though is, if we're seeing Dion Gunn right now at 25,
then the great didn't make the list.
The great didn't make it at all. But I mean, you can't have a franchise without a franchise left tackle, and between Gunn and DeGreat, there aren't anybody better in the league, even close.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, who knows? Maybe DeGreat is higher.
Hey, who knows? But like, that's what I'm saying though, because I agree that Gunn is the best. Yeah. So like, if we go off of that consensus, that would mean that DeGreat would have had to been behind him. Who knows? Maybe he thinks
I hope
DeGreat's
that that Noah probably went off of stats and probably saw that DeGreat probably had better stats or something. But
I'm just saying, because like, we have these centers and guards here, but I mean, DeGreat is better than. I think the only guy who's better than him, honestly, is Gunn.
Yeah.
At offensive lineman.
I agree. But with everything else, it looks like a cool list to me, man. Yeah. Starting to see those guys. We got 20 more people left.
Yep, 2 more weeks, guys.
And we're gonna see who made this list here for Noah Underhill, man. And once again, shout out to that guy, man. Did a great job on this. And yeah, that's all we had to cover. There is one more thing I need to ask you. I guess you guys that we'll put here for a little bit, and I wanted to talk about. Did you guys see the new stuff on Madden 21? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
It's I don't know, man. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence, to be honest. I see where they are trying to go. Mm-hmm. I can see what they're trying to accomplish. I just feel like, once again, some of the things that they're talking about adding based off of what I saw today is really maybe a step up from a patch. You know what I mean? Like, we've been asking, like just today, I can't remember who I was talking to. We were talking about this. Like, we don't even have a section to be able to edit playbooks outside of franchise mode. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, keep giving us all these little coach adjustment things in the middle of a game. But who's ever played football, especially if you've had to learn the offense, like if you're a quarterback, skill position player, 90% of your playbook work is done before you even see the field. Mm-hmm. Why are we not still allowed to adjust playbooks and things of that nature and take plays out, add plays in, whatever the case is, outside of the game? Same with the defensive stuff. Man up coverage, overall coverage, cover them by height. strip ball, all of these things, and it's like, so it's like, yeah, oh yes, we might be able to save some plays to use more often. Like, we don't know where they are already in the playbook, but
Yeah.
why can't we do these kind of adjustments in the franchise when any other franchise in any sport has this kind of stuff in real life, if we're trying to replicate real life? So I mean, to me, I just think that they're barking up the wrong tree, but they're not even close to the top of the tree yet, man. And they got a long way to go. And if they really don't deliver, it's gonna be rough sledding for EA, man. And the fact that they already announced basically that there is gonna be no real extra stuff for next gen for the entire year, and just the same thing that they're gonna update with the current gen Madden.
Yeah.
Why has the current gen Madden been so like neglected if you have not been working on a whole new project for next gen, which is I think what everybody assumed was happening? Fine, leave the current gen alone. Everybody's excited for the PS5 and the Xbox One X. I get it. So let's roll out a brand new franchise, a brand new everything, and just blow them away. But no, instead you say, oh well, we're not going to really change anything this year. We're just going to sort of update both of them. What is the delay for? What are you
Yeah.
doing? You know, so like
I was just about to
my
say
take
with
on
the
it, man.
delay, that's crazy. What you
Like,
gonna say, Rob?
it's just nuts.
What you say, Smitty?
I said you gonna say something on this?
Oh yeah. I gotta jump out of here in a minute, man. But I kind of feel a little bit differently than Bill, man. I mean, I feel like how Bill does. Everything Bill is saying is cool, but there were some things that I saw on the updated list, man, that really made me say, "Great, man, this is in the right direction." The very first thing that I saw was that they made improvements to the coverage of the defense and the reaction time to be a little bit more realistic. And I don't have all the wording in front of me, but there was stuff I saw too with things like quarterbacks leading the pass. How many times do we see a quarterback not lead the receiver on deep passes? You know what I mean? So like apparently like the quarterbacks now are doing that. One of the other big things I saw too was something they got called head tracking, which we complain about that all the time. Well, at least I do when we're doing the replays. Like the wide receivers are not looking at the ball. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, look, it's like they're looking a certain way, but they're not looking at the ball. So now apparently like they've tied in like the head tracking with the route running. So now the receiver is like running this route, and he's going to be able to like adjust to where the ball is placed. So maybe those crazy passes we see, and everything, maybe now the wide receivers might actually start going after balls that they normally wouldn't go after, what we've seen. And even like things with the pass rush I've seen, apparently the pass rush is being tuned a little bit more. So while I feel the sentiments, of what Bill is saying, he's right. Like we should have these things already. They should definitely be in the game. I do feel that they are making some improvements for our experience at least. Because like this game on 20, man, you know what I mean? Like Jesus, man, the stuff we see, man, the running lanes, like, oh yeah, that's another one, the running lanes. They apparently they're making it easier for which is good for elusive backs, because now apparently they're making it easier for the AI to read those running lanes now, and you can make satisfying cutback lanes too, because there's a ton of cutback lanes that backs don't even take. So I can only imagine what Tavion Hall is looking like now. You know what I'm saying? With being able to get out of there and get up into a cutback lane. I don't even know if people understand what a cutback lane is. You know what I mean? But we see them all the time, where the whole side of the field is wide open and the running back decides to run into the back of a lineman instead of making a juke move and going the other way. So I'm hopeful, man, that the additional improvements that they've made to the AI is going to be a big deal.
What I'm going to say about my feelings is I'm going to say some pros and some cons to this. I think for the most part, my cons kind of agree with Bill. I didn't understand the reasoning for the delay. If you, for one, the only thing I can think of for a reason of a delay, and it wasn't like it was a big delay. It was like a little bit of a month, less than a month later. So it wasn't a big delay. Maybe they didn't just, while they were working on this, they didn't have everything exactly done or working right. So they probably said, look, we're not going to get this out. We already don't have enough that's going to really satisfy our people that buy Madden. So, let's at least make sure we got what we say we're going to get in the game done right, so there's no problems. That I can see that, but we're still gonna have to even see that when we get the game. We don't know.
Another thing too, Smitty. My bad. Did you see the next gen powered replays?
No.
That was something that you've been trying to get to. Like now, all of a sudden, like all the big plays now are supposed to pop up now as replays.
Let's go. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like and that now to get to my pros a little bit on this is I like still a little bit on my cons. They didn't add much to this, man. A lot of people were expecting them. This next gen. Look, they got outdid by 2K, man. They definitely got outdid by 2K. 2K really took that next gen to the next gen for real. Madden took the graphics to the next gen for real, which we expected. But I think what they did was fine tune what they had, the little nuances that they had that weren't great, and worked on it. I love the route running that they had for the receivers. And how they have those routes run differently and things like that. Even the foot placement. I'm thinking the player movement. I know some guys like Ryan Moody was going off about like how is the next gen stats going to help with the movement and stuff. It doesn't make sense. And I think it kind of might those numbers might equate into like the way that they run the route and how many times they run it differently. Yeah. And as a receiver who played, myself, like you're never going to run pretty much the same route the same. And we see that all the time on Madden. For guys who have played receiver, about stemming up and getting up on the cornerback's toes before you really sell and break a route, and there's different ways that you got to do that based off of how they're playing you. I like the way that they had, I think it was DK Metcalf. He had the guy, if I remember, was playing inside. And he had to break outside, so he stemmed him up. He went inside like he was going to favor an inside route, stemmed up, got close up on him, and then faked as if he was going inside and broke out. And in the foot movement, I like the patterns and the way that the feet were moving, and it seemed more smoother. But like I said, we're going to have to see this when we play the game. I don't know what this thing's going to end up being like, but yeah, I just don't think it still was a little bit of a letdown because it wasn't much that changed. It's still going to be the same Madden, still going to be the same modes with a little bit more polish to it. I want to see what these tackles and look like. I just feel like what they changed was making it more fluent, and that's what we expect when we get our hands on this. If this game is not fluent when the PS5 comes out and we get our hands on this, then that's a huge letdown. But I really feel like this gives me a lot of hope because of the pressure that the community has applied to EA. I think that Madden 22 is going to be the year, and I hate to say that because that's a year pretty much down the line, but that's going to be a year where I think that EA they're forced to have to push out something way better than what they've had.
We say this every year, man.
I do, but the pressure is completely different at this point of the stage compared to last. Like we knew it was riling up when we were talking about 21. But the pressure really is on, and they did say, they were going to focus on, the franchise and the stuff more so that we wanted on 22. And I think that some people do forget that they said that. When guys said they were going to make the franchise improvements and try to do a little something this year, they already told you that it wasn't going to be too much because they didn't have that plan, and that's their fault. They should have had that on their list for something to do. The community reacted to it. Now they know, oh, you know what? We can't do this no more. We got to make something happen. And they did whatever little they feel that they could add now. But I think the next year is really going to be the determining factor on if, EA is really going to do something about it or not. Because if they don't, I think it's over if Madden 22 doesn't, pop off. But 21.
How are you already going to get outdone by your competitor within like 3 months of it becoming your competitor, man? That's what I don't get.
Yeah. And they're really opening up the window a little bit for 2K.
Yeah, 2K is like, oh, yeah, we're moving to the next gen. Let us make our game pretty like it's supposed to look anyway. We're not going to really talk a whole lot about that because that's expected. We're not going to use that for a selling point. And then we're going to give you an entire city to play in. And then Madden's like, oh, yeah, well, mouthpieces. and we're going to let you save some plays in a save list.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much what they brought, bro, was graphics and a couple of smooth gameplay, man.
We're going to make the players move like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Try that one on 2K. What you got on that?
Yeah. They definitely got outdid by 2K, man.
Yes, they did. Embarrassed, really.
Yeah.
And 2K didn't even have to delay their release to do
It's
it.
just a good thing I don't play 2K, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean. Like I
I don't
get
even
it.
either. I don't either. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
it's
You got all that
It
stuff
makes
in
you
there.
almost want to play it because of how much stuff
Yeah.
they got. But it's just
Yeah.
like, man, like you would expect, especially America's top sport, to have the best game out of all the sports. You know what I'm saying? Like football, a football game should be the best game on the market in terms of what you can do with it and in the terms of the way it plays out. And that has not been the case for years, to be honest here. We already know there's no denying it. We already know that they didn't put forth their best effort. They had no competition, and it's understandable. That's a business move, but it's here now. The Judgment Day is just about here now for those guys, and especially now hearing that they're going to be having the Pro Bowl, the NFL this year, on that.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy because I have a feeling like an NFL player might speak out. And say, look, and there's been some NFL players saying, yo, this game is trash, and if somebody does that on that, and it messes up NFL's Pro Bowl time of stream, look, honestly, we already know NFL, they don't care. They just want the money, that's why they give EA the license and approve with whatever they're doing, even though they haven't been doing much. But if it comes to Pro Bowl and they mess up their money, they got people giving them the NFL bad review, and that's going to be, a real different story. Next time they got to talk about, extending a contract.
Yeah. Thank God that, Madden fans have a place like the RFL where we actually try to make the game realistic and give you guys something worth watching.
Exactly, man. But that's going to do it here for us, man. We appreciate you guys as always, man. If you haven't already, make sure you drop the like button. We still even have 29 guys here strong. Big shout out to you guys, man. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. A lot of big games. We'll make sure to update that schedule and get that out to you guys. Post that on social media. So we'll be calling a lot this week. Until then, it's your boy Smitty, RFL Commissioner and Play-by-Play Commentator, along with Bill and Rob. And we'll see you guys, like I said, tomorrow. Peace.
All right. See you guys.